Okay. So let me go ahead and move this pin right here. And I think I'm going to have to reshare this map.
Yeah.
So I vaguely remember that everyone is... Where's the drawing? Okay, nope, that's not it. Enter drawing mode? Okay. And I was not expecting that to be black. I thought it was going to be green. Clear drawings. Wait, what am I doing? I can just look up the map that we have on the Discord. Okay, that's where you are.
B.
Okay, so you are nearing the Torm's bridges, which normally go over a waterway, but now they just showcase the far descent into the river Styx. You are still quite a few blocks away from there, so anything can still happen.
There could be an earthquake.
Nah, we did that last session.
There could be a tsunami.
A lava tsunami.
I don't want a lava
locust.
tsunami.
Spicy
No,
tsunami.
locust.
A spicy tsunami.
Is that a tsunami made out of hot sauce?
That's a lava tsunami.
I mean, that's a lava tsunami. Hot sauce. Very hot sauce.
Yeah. The forbidden hot sauce.
Forbidden hot sauce.
Give you a nickel if you eat a spoonful.
I'll give you a nickel if you could successfully get lava into a spoon.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the first question is, no, it's not even the first question, because we're not, I mean, yes, obviously we're trying not to get like ambushed by devils, but we're not trying to be stealthy. We are trying to look for survivors as we make it to the bridge. So yeah, eyes out for other survivors. I don't think last session any of the current survivors we found gave us any clues to more survivors, did they?
No, not that I recall.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so if they didn't give us a starting point, I guess we'll either make perception checks for more survivors, or start making our way towards the bridge and hopefully we run into survivors along the way.
Sounds good.
What do you guys think?
Agreed.
Were we gonna loot the supply store before we left?
We've already done that.
Okay, cool.
I did
Just wanna
that
make
while
sure
you
I got
guys.
remembered.
I did that while you two were digging people out. Or you three, goes west too.
Yeah.
There's even
Sounds
barrels of fish and barrels
you,
of
Rowan.
water, which, if you remember, Girk, you actually rolled stealth to help us successfully hide them for the survivors to find.
Oh, that's right, I did.
Well, since nobody else is going to say anything about doing it, I guess I will make the perception check. I'm going to go up on the rooftop and make the perception check, though. So, Jaime, from the rooftop, can I make it with advantage?
I will allow it.
For a 16 on perception. I'm looking at my wrong character. Hold on. Let me go roll that on the right character.
Okay.
Very little.
Skills. Advantage rolled. For a nat 20, so a 25 on perception.
No. I got a 24.
No, you don't get to look. Something else
I'm
we
staying
got.
on the
No,
ground.
it's
I'm staying on the ground.
Shush, let me finish. It's something we got to work on, guys. When one person says, I'm going to make a perception check, the rest of the party has to stop going, okay, I'm going to make one too. Like, that's not how D&D works. If one person's taking the time to look, one person's taking the time to look. Gillen, you should have been the one to make the check. I gave the opportunity for everybody to make the check. Nobody said anything out loud, which is why I was like, well, if nobody else is going to say anything, I go up on the roof.
I've been trying to get Fantasy Grounds to work for me. Like it's still.
We'll make that statement out loud next time. But it is something we've got to get better about. Not everybody is looking at. Not everybody is looking at the same thing all the time.
Case in point, I'm a thief, and at no point in this entire campaign, because of everyone's passive perceptions or whatever, have I ever been able to steal anything without being seen.
Yeah.
Because of that rule. Be the way you guys have been playing it.
But yes, in the future, Cam, you should be the one making the perception check, so you have the highest check.
Right.
But changes nothing. I nat 20. What do I find?
Lots of things. Let me type some things up.
Those people.
We type some things up. Okay.
Being specific, I'm listening for survivors and for people screaming or talking. Humanoid voices, basically, and spotting. Seeing what I can see as far as movement from the roof.
Feel like that was the right direction to go.
And that's the we have to be better about, guys, when we say we're doing a perception check or an investigate check or any sort of awareness check. We're also supposed to be like, well, I'm looking for this, and then make the roll. I'm
Fair enough.
listening, or I'm spotting, or I'm smelling.
Videos. Because none of them locally, so they came for a couple months. A lot in terms of kind of that was going to he was part of the program. Some of his experiments were not things that he could just leave. Testing kept became film and cool stuff. Not enough just being going to be on call, like he is, and then several he get them out, he would make his videos, and then he would go back to what he was working. Race was going to come out.
While Jaime's typing that up, for the first time since 2nd edition, the Dragonlance book series is back to being canon in D&D lore.
I've seen everybody going crazy about that.
Yep. Dragonlance is one of the most detailed settings out there that's ever been in a D&D lore, but they've never not since second edition have they tried to tie it in, and the most recent unearthed arcana on the D&D website, which is basically unearthed arcana is test content. It's all prototype content and basically homebrew content, but it's homebrew made by the people at Wizards because it's their attempt to test it before they mainstream it in book. And
Right.
that's what's in their unearthed arcana right now is the Secrets of Kryn or whatever, which is the Dragonlance setting.
Neat. I've heard they're bringing a few playable races back too.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, sure, because there was a bunch that were unique to the Dragonlance setting.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was related or if it was just another.
Oh
Like
yeah, it's all
another
part of the
release?
same thing. They're
Okay.
so basically 5th edition back in December became 5.5 edition, and instead of releasing 5.5 the way they went from 3.0 to 3.5, they released a massive errata package, and all new content that they're releasing now is based on that errata package.
Yeah. Okay.
My apologies, I forgot to ask. Did you want this in Discord or in Facebook?
Oh, it don't matter to me.
Okay, good. I sent it in
Let me know
Facebook.
Okay. Aha.
Oh.
Oh man. Oh, I'm not sure which direction to go or how much of that I would relay to the group when I got back off the roof. Crap. What are you guys looking at today out of game? You guys want to like look for a fight? Do you guys want to look for just role play and more people to save?
I'm always down to fight, but that's just me. I want to know how everybody else feels.
What about you, Girk?
Forgot I was muted. I've been talking this whole
Oh.
time. I thought you were trying to get me
Oh,
to
no.
shut up. No, I'm down to fight.
Oh,
Is the long
I spotted 4 separate groups of activity.
Do we have a ballpark figure of what type of activity those 4 groups are engaging in?
I do, and one of them to me looks to be like an outright fight of let's go look for a fight. The other 3 are potentially role play. Of the other 3, 2 of them might be a fight, I think.
Does it look
But
as if any of them someone needs protecting, like it's lopsided?
What do you need saving?
from the information that I was giving, no, it does not look like anybody's in immediate need of protection. Immediately nearest to us, I can hear people talking in an alley, which I think is probably one of the role play options. But a few streets over, I notice a bunch of ghouls roaming the streets looking for a meal. So I'm like, should we go for the role play option or should we go after the ghouls?
I'm going to talk to the kids because I think the kids are going to be the ghouls Twinkies if we don't do anything about it.
The kids.
The people talking in the alleyway. I assume.
Yeah, Jaime, I'm gonna stay on the roof, but I'm gonna like direct Gilwin to move towards the south since he's down in the alley looking. To see if we can find the people speaking in hushed tones not too far from us.
All right, Gilman, do you
Okay.
follow his directive?
Who
I do.
Now you can make a perception check.
Hooray!
Since I am directing him, does he have advantage on this check, Jaime?
Yes.
higher hourly rate.
Cool. Wow. For a 15. I dropped a 1.
Wow. When are you going to start casting guidance before you roll checks?
Because I always forget about it.
What is guidance?
Guidance gives him a plus 1d4 to his skill checks.
Anything.
Oh, that's
And-
oh.
Girk, don't forget, you also have the bardic ability to give us
Oh,
bardic
this is so-
inspiration, which is basically the same thing, but it's a d6 instead of a d4.
I just got it. Though. He's had it for a while.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, you've had it. You've had it for the last 2 sessions, but we haven't had anything to like do with it yet. That's why I was like, don't forget, you can do it too.
And I thought that was something I didn't get until 3rd level anyway.
No, you get bardic inspiration at the first level of being a bard.
That's one of the perks.
I think you have an amount of bardic inspiration equal to your proficiency bonus, but we would have to double check that. I'm not 100%, but I think that's how many dice you have.
Okay, so
Say it's very
with that perception check, you do in fact find the two that are talking with one another. It appears to be a halfling and an imp.
And an imp?
And an imp.
The imp is trying to get the halfling to make a deal for his soul.
Does it look like
Wait, it's
a...
not- Yeah, I was about to say, is it one of our imps?
Well, I was going to say, does it look like a terse situation? Like, is it...
That would be insight, Kim.
Would it? Well, I guess I
Yeah.
can roll that too.
Yeah, because you're looking at body language and whatnot. What's your passive insight? It's like 18, isn't it?
Yeah.
With his passive
Passive
of
insight's the
18,
same as
can he
perception.
tell? What's that?
Passive insight's the same as perception, right?
Yeah.
Well, it depends.
so-
Well, no. Insight's a separate skill that you're trained in.
But yeah, I've got the same modifier for both.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, it'll be the same. So yeah, you should be like an 18, right? Because I think you were at a 17 before you read the Book of Wisdom.
I was at a 16 before I read the Book of Wisdom.
Then you
'Cause I
would
went
be
up-
at
well-
17 now.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was at a... How does that work?
I think you were
Oh,
at a
never mind.
17 to start with,
Mm-hmm.
because you definitely have higher stats than me. So, anyways, honey, with passive
Yeah.
18, then, can he tell if it's a terse situation, or would he need to roll for that?
I actually need to remember what the word terse means.
Tense.
Does it look like the halfling's upset, or that the imp is trying to impose upon him in some way, or anything like that?
Yes, actually. The halfling looks like he's trying to make a very heavy decision. And has a piece of paper in his hands.
Yeah, the imp is
In
trying
his
to
hand.
get a deal.
All right. Then I would say something along the lines of I'm going to keep it passive, but it's going to be like, what's going on here? I guess I could say something like, is everything fine back here?
So an elf rounds the corner, finds a halfling and an imp in the middle of making a deal, and the first words out of his mouth are, "Everything going all right back here?"
Just like
How
a
do
cop.
they react? Just like a cop.
The halfling is startled, but relaxes when you see that you're not a devil or a demon. The imp just kind of scowls at you. Oh. Everything's going well. We're just in the middle of making a deal, so if you don't mind, we're getting ready to conclude some business.
Deal, huh?
Yes, that's what I said. I
kinda wanna
even
be
said
like-
it in common so you could understand.
Roll initiative. My lawful evil ass Jaime is telling everybody to roll initiative because hearing him insult Gilwin, I'm ready in a shot. I was gonna stay out of it until that. I even said it in common comment. That really offended me.
I look
Well
at the
then.
halfling and go, "Didn't your mom ever teach you that making a deal with the devil is stupid?"
My... the
Say
fa-
it just like that.
But my wife and kids need food.
Then
I
kill
rolled
the
a 12
devil
on
and eat it.
initiative.
I would tell I would point him in the direction. Well, are we keeping it a
Don't
secret?
point him in the
from-
direction yet. Roll initiative because if everybody keeps talking,
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot the imp while everybody's talking. So I need to know who goes first.
I got a 22 on initiative.
Jaime, if you roll mine, please.
Working on it. I'm trying to bring up stats now.
No worries.
Sorry.
No rush.
We picked this because I thought it was going to be the role play conversation, not the combat. But I'm going to be straight up real with you. I don't like the way the imp was a dick bag, and obviously this halfling needs help, and we can provide it. There's no reason for him to make a deal for it.
Yeah, like if I wasn't going to point him in the direction of the camp, I was going to point him in the direction of the rest of the party.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I
Go
just
talk to
realized
them.
something.
They can get you some food.
What'd you
We had a
realize?
long rest. We had a long rest. I have all 8 of my teleportations back.
Yeah, since the last time you used it, we have had like 2 long rests.
Yeah,
In fact, since the last time you used it, we had a week of downtime.
that too. I'm gonna assume that I used the hell out of it during that week of downtime. Like, I need a beer from the fridge, but it's all the way over there. Hang on a second.
It's the same day as the last.
Okay, Fick,
But otherwise, it's the same day as the last session. Yeah, but he
Okay.
didn't use it last session.
Fick rolled a
Okay.
10.
Vic rolled a 10 for initiative. Heard. I rolled a 12, Jaime, so that you can put me in the initiative tracker, just so you know. Gilwin rolled a 20 something because he's a dick.
Yup. I made an 18 on the roll. So
Nice. I rolled a 6 on my roll.
Nice.
I have a +6 to my initiative, and somehow I'm still going super slow.
I rolled a trust in a friend on mine. I don't know what I rolled.
For some reason, it's not letting me update your initiative.
Mine? That's weird.
Sorry, I had to yell at, yeah, food.
I do like yelling at food.
I prefer eating it.
Food! I prefer yelling food.
I just don't like it when the food yells at me.
Yeah, I don't like it when the food yells back. Then there's a problem.
I had a teacher
That's
once
when you
tell
know
me
you
a
need to
story.
eat it quick. It might go bad.
Also, yes,
What was your story?
what I was saying is that your initiative, for some reason, isn't letting me update it.
Is it still not?
Correct, it is still not.
Is it? You might have to remove me from the tracker and put me back in it and same for Gurk, but it let you update Gurks, so that's weird. But a lot of times when a person isn't actually logged in on Fantasy Grounds and you try to make changes, yeah, their thing is basically, for lack of a better term, read protected. So you have to close and reopen their character based upon what map you have their token on.
Don't tell me I'm gonna have to actually make a map in order to be able to do the freak.
That didn't sound at all happy.
No.
Yeah, because I removed you from the combat tracker, inserted you back in, and it's still not letting me do it.
That's really strange.
Yeah.
It's got to be because of whatever character sheet you're dragging into the initiative tracker.
Okay, I even I even deleted your old token on this map that I just created. Well, brought back up because it was the last one that we used. Deleted your old token, added a new token from the thing that was in the combat tracker, and it still won't let me edit it.
Weird.
See, I would think you need to remove me from the combat tracker, remove me from the map, open my character, whatever character you're using for me, that has my token on it, drag the token from that character onto the map, and then drag that character or that token from the map onto the initiative tracker.
So I'm basically going to be emptying out the entire tracker thing.
No, it really should just be based on my character, but I don't know.
We can always scrap the initiatives and roll again. Try it that way.
Worst case scenario, we could just go old school and write it down on a piece of paper with a pencil.
What's a pencil?
What is this pencil in which you speak?
I don't buy that. We're gaming. Gamers know you use pencils, not pens.
Yeah, so you can erase.
Yep. I had to explain
no,
that to one of my newbie gamers in my local group.
I was more referencing to the technology versus old school.
Mm-hmm.
No, you never. The only thing you use a pen for in D&D is player name.
I was about to say your name. That's it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you are feeling really confident about your character sheet.
Or you think your character is going to die quickly.
In most cases, you can also do race.
Still not letting me. We're gonna have to go. Or I'm just gonna have to do what's it called?
Old school.
Old school.
Old school is still the best school.
Indeed. It works. Thanks, Stinky Bee.
Me calling for initiative, I don't think actually changed much anyways since Gilwyn rolled so high. And I mean, I don't know what the halfling and the imp rolled, but since Gilwyn rolled so high, I'm obviously not just going to pop off a shot before he gets a chance to say something. Out of game, Cam, I actually figured out a way to justify your shoot first, ask questions later when it comes to devils, even to Rowan, a way that would make Rowan buy it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
In
I
fact,
don't necessarily want to bring it up unless there's like a role play moment to bring it up in game. But yeah, I found a way to justify it even to Rowan so that he stops offering one chance. In the long and short
Speaking
of
of
it,
that aspect,
Go ahead.
in the long and short of it, it's that you guys are the marionettes. You guys are creating an army of devils thanks to Boston, which means you guys can kill as many devils as you want because Felix Boston is replacing them with ones that are not only still devils, but they're devils that are under the party's thumb. The reason I didn't necessarily don't want to like go too much into that is because without Boston here, you can't you could try to talk the imp that you're about to encounter, that you're encountering right now, into joining our imps, but the group has never been inclined to do that. It's always been Felix that did that.
True, and Felix is definitely the charisma character, though.
Yeah. We don't
I am
currently
not.
have the high charisma character right now is actually our current leader, which is Fick, and Fick doesn't talk as long as he's in his marionette style. he uses mime to communicate, so I don't know how well
interpretive dance.
Yeah, I was about to say, in this era, it would be more akin to interpretive dance than actual miming, anyways.
Okay, top of the initiative. Gilwin.
Yep. Yeah, I would point the halfling into the direction of the rest of the party and say, "Go find my friends. You can't miss them. They're the big scary party. They're the big scary warrior-looking guys. Except everybody is shorter than me."
Look for the guys that look like they're trying to kill you. They're trying to protect you. The ones that are trying to protect you are trying to make you lunch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree with everything that he just said.
Yep. I would basically convey that. Like, go find the guys that look like they're about to kill you, but aren't. They have
you know what happens? We tell them to run off, and they find a mind flare just in time.
Anyways, he directs them to our party. I think that would probably be a persuasion check or something. Gilwin. Okay. If you're trying to talk him into ditching his surefire plan with the imp.
We got another surefire plan with the party.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that. You have to quote unquote persuade him into doing that.
Oh, okay. Then before I do that, I am going to cast fucking guidance on myself because I don't have any modifier.
All right, here's a good time to throw you off. We're in combat initiative, which means it would take you 2 turns because it takes 1 turn to cast guidance, and then on your next turn you'd be able to cast or roll persuasion because both take an action. So you either roll it plain or you start trying to convince him to walk off, and then you're like, nah, you know what? And start casting your spell instead so that next turn you can convince him. So what do you do?
I'll try the straight roll first, and then if that fails, I'll react accordingly.
I think this is when we need Fick to come around the corner and do his interpretive dance. And his interpretive dance, which is going to be like making himself look like members of Nat 20, fuck yeah. Start making himself look like members of our party whenever you're like, go look for these guys. And he like bulks himself up to look like Goliath, or he makes himself crawls around like an animal to make himself look like you, Gilwin, that sort of stuff. And then suddenly, because he did that, you now get a plus 1d6.
Lie down.
That's how his interpretive dance would have worked. But you nat 20, so it doesn't matter.
What I would have done, Carl, is I would have acted like I was using marionettes, holding the controls for him, and cast minor illusion to have the people he's looking for appear to be dancing.
Okay.
While I'm sitting on a crate. No, like they're dancing with each other.
No, I love that entirely, simply because that is exactly what Felix would do when he was party leader. That's what he did to stop the riot when we first got in Baldur's Gate, was he made puppets out of minor illusions. So for you to be like, that's what you would do? Yeah, no argument. Do it. So he's over there getting his illusion puppets ready when you just nat 20 your
I'm getting my
persuasion.
puppet on.
Yeah.
Okay. The halfling looks like he is about to cry tears of joy. And
Collect those.
Collect those. They're an ingredient. Tears of joy, CR1.
What do you do? Just walk up to him, stick a vial on his cheek?
No. Anyway, so he looks like he's about to cry tears of joy.
That's almost as good as Jaime writing down his own execution being turned into a vampire.
Also true.
The imp, or let's see, is there anything else that you're doing during your turn, Gilwin?
No, that's pretty much the basis of it.
Okay, the imp is going to try and persuade the halfling to stick around.
I would like to request that the imp roll with disadvantage because of Gilwin's nat 20.
Fair.
Okay, that's all. He might have advantage for other reasons, thereby negating it, but I want to throw in at least 1 point of disadvantage for Gilwin's nat 20.
Yes. Thanks for having my back, Carl.
Dude, you nat 20 on the persuasion check. 30 seconds after saying you were not the face character, that someone else was.
I know, right? I think that's Gilman's first ever charisma roll.
Bro, you nailed it.
Okay.
What form are you in? What form?
What?
What was that, Girk?
What form are you in? Luck win?
Yeah, luck
win. Solid.
The halfling turn, or the halfling. The imp turns back. The imp turns back to the halfling, and he's like, "You don't know these people. They can't guarantee you anything. I can bring you food right here, right now."
Oh, if it's food right now you want.
I put up a minor illusion. I hold up one of my rations, but I make it look all moldy and decaying.
So he's standing in the corner still waiting for his turn, and he's like, "This dude's food is gross. You don't want this."
Right.
Honestly, you really don't need to do that. The halfling is basically ignoring the imp now. And realizing that nothing he could say could really convince the halfling otherwise, the imp starts actually, what kind of movement does it have? Okay, it has a fly speed.
Cool.
Lifts off and just starts to fly away.
Whose turn is it?
Thurkir's.
Eat it, Thurkir. I'm not saying anything till my turn, but I'm sitting here, like, on the rooftop, loading rounds into my revolver, and just, I realize Thurkir is about to go, and I think to myself, eat it.
He doesn't actually have a bow on him.
I'm telling you, add your warlock levels, Thurkir, because then you'd at least have a cantrip for thwapping people. Wait, you're at least a level 2 ranger. You telling me you don't have any spells with range?
No, all of his spells are utility.
Oh, we gonna work on this thick here.
Also, I don't think I've given him spells since I made him. So he probably needs some updating.
Yeah, because
Probably.
isn't he a like a 4th level ranger, 2nd level barbarian, or something like that?
1st level barbarian, 5th level ranger.
Yeah, so he's got 4 levels worth of spells. Now, granted, all of his spells are 1st level spells or higher, because you don't get cantrips unless you take druidic fighting as your fighting style. But he took 2 weapon, I believe.
He did.
Yeah, so all of his spells would be 1st level or higher. But
So he doesn't have a range attack, but he's going to go over to the, or at least walk over to the halfling and take the paper out of the halfling's hand.
does he like just walk up and snatch it?
Not
Or
snatch
is
it.
like nonchalant.
No, he's very nonchalant about it. He's like, let me see this.
I see him holding his hand out for just like half a second, like trying to get the halfling to hand it to him before he just kind of goes, "Thank you."
Before, yeah, just thank you, and he just reaches out and grabs it from him, leaving the halfling standing there like, what the fuck?
That's exactly what it was.
Yes.
Next.
Oh, okay. He passed his investigation. Next would be Fick. Or, no,
Wait,
sorry. Next is actually, Rowan. Sorry.
I was about to say, didn't I roll higher than Fick? Oh.
Yeah, since I have to switch between my my computer notepad and Fantasy Grounds, I was looking at the combat tracker instead of the notebook.
Yeah.
I don't know how many hit points an imp has, so he's going to take these one at a time. But I go ahead and spend a 1st level spell slot. Without an attack roll, the imp takes 4 points of damage. Is he still alive?
4 points of damage. It is still alive.
Another 4.
Still alive.
5.
And our so pelt, pelt, pelt. And the corpse of the imp falls to the ground.
Yeah, so I see the thing take off. I've been loading my gun on the rooftop, but I do what I always do when I magic missile, because this is what I think I really like. This is my flavor for magic missile, is I put the gun in the holster and I fold back my ring finger and my pinky finger and I pull back on my thumb. And when I do, 3 blue dots appear like holograms on the outside of my hand. And I point my hand down the alley and I say, because I wrote down magic words for my character and I've never actually said them in game. I'm going to actually say my magic words with each shot. Features and traits, notes. So with my first shot, anybody on the ground would have heard chorus, thwap. The imp would have looked up. Then they would have heard Manara, thwap. The imp would have looked up. And then they would have heard LeMay, thwap. And the imp would have just fallen out of the air where it was flying, and it would have just skidded into the ground, into the dust. Just thunk, thunk, thunk. And each of the blue dots, the 3 blue dots that appeared like holograms on the outside of my hand, would have been dissipated as energy out of my hand when I fired it as force bolts. I use my move action to come off the roof and find myself, if possible, I don't know the distances, but if possible, standing next to Gillen in the alley.
Sounds good. Let's see, Fick hasn't done anything yet this turn. Fick, what would you like to do? The imp looks like it's dead.
Curb stomp it.
I think about it. We know it can fly. So that wouldn't work.
Just go curb stomp it.
I was gonna use a cantrip and put a candle on it and control flame.
Wait, you walk up, you light a candle, and then control flame it? AKA, you just light its corpse on fire?
Yes.
The corpse does not light.
Oh,
It's a devil. Where in hell it has fire resistance?
fair enough. Should have thought of that. Should have just stuck my rapier through its face.
How's the halfling reacting to me dropping it and him coming over and trying to torch it?
He is, he's all of a sudden not sure he made the right decision, but hey, anyone that's, an enemy of the devils is probably a friend to him.
Are we back in roleplay time?
Yes.
Then looking at his reaction, I would look up and say, did I hear you right? You have family that we need to be looking for as well?
Yes, they just live, or we've been hiding two doors down. I was trying to look for food when that imp cornered me and offered me a chance to get some for them.
Well, we found some at such and such supply store, and we've also set up a garrison at such and such address. But that's when I would actually look at Fick and like gesture to him in the same way that I may have or whatever to sort of say to him, do you want to use your umbrella to get this guy and his family back to the other dudes? Back to our
I'm kind of tempted to run the whole way and leave like a chalk outline to like follow the line to safety for anyone we meet.
When you suggest that in some way in game, I say the problem is that, oh, well, no, actually, I take that back. The voices were south. Everything else was 2 to the north and 1 to the west. South of us should be pretty clear because we've basically been going north this entire time, right, Jaime?
Yes, you've been going to the north or to the northwest is basically where you've been heading.
Yeah, then having dealt with this imp, I would actually say that, you know, Girk's right. We could easily do like minor illusion or something to create like the chalk line for them to follow.
Could I use my arcane mark for something like that?
Do you have arcane mark as a spell?
I believe I do.
I didn't know arcane mark was a thing in 5e.
Yeah, I think it is. Okay. So the halfling looks.
Wizard mark is not a thing in 5e.
It's not?
No.
Oh.
It was removed in 5e. It was wizard mark all the way up to 3.5. In 3.5, it became arcane mark, and then it was completely removed in 5e.
Maybe it's illusionary script or something like that. I have something that has to do with writing.
That would be on Jaime to check the character sheet. I don't know. And illusory script is a first level spell.
Yeah, I see illusory
so you'd have
script.
to use a first level. You'd have to use a first level spell slot for illusory script.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Okay. They have silent image, which could technically be used as a guide. I don't know what the distance is on that.
60 feet.
So then it can't be used as a guide.
Yeah, spot on the other side
I
of the
can
street?
cast illusory script, Girk, as a ritual, so it doesn't use a spell slot. It just, as opposed to taking 1 minute to cast, it takes 11 minutes to cast when you cast as a ritual.
If we do that, we can just set up markers that have survivors, so we don't have to keep ferrying them back and forth.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Girk. If I had an inspiration, I would send it to you. If you guys are fine with waiting every now and then for me to use illusory script, because it takes me 11 minutes to cast.
Honestly, that's brilliant. Great idea, Girk. I'm gonna give you an inspiration.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll use glyphs. We'll do illusory script glyphs, and it's literally any creatures that I designate when I cast the spell can see it. So I can say survivors, or I've got to find a way to word it. I mean, if the GM allows it, we won't dig into it too deep, but basically I just have to find a way to word it to include any new survivors we come across.
Okay.
And it lasts for 10 days.
Or well,
there
since you're an
one side effect issue, though, Jaime.
Oh.
It has a spell component that shit.
What?
I know we ransacked the general store, but can I go back and look for a specific item that I can use as a spell component? It has a spell component that it actually expends. So I can't just do it with an arcane focus. I have to have the spell component, which is ink.
A lead-based ink, in fact.
Yep. Well, in this era, that would be most inks. We're lead-based. Unless we were... well, I take that back. We're on the Sword Coast. I don't know where El Terrell was as opposed to the coastline, but if you're inland, they are lead-based inks. If you're on a coastline, normally they're a natural ink.
Octopus and squid ink.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Sure.
All right, I'm gonna roll that as a investigation check. I got a 27 on that investigation check to find ink.
You found ink.
Solid. Yeah, then I make arcane marks. I guess how many uses of ink do I find?
Roll a d10 for me.
D10. Roll. 9.
You find 9 or 9. You get 9 uses basically.
Nice. Solid. Okay, then yeah. I go with Girk's plan. I spend the 10 minutes, 11 minutes to make the mark after we find the ink. While we're doing this, though, I explain to them the other things I saw.
Okay.
To the north, there were 4 cloaked figures sneaking around in the alleys. To the west, there were 7 ghouls roaming the streets looking for a meal. We dealt with the imp and the person to the south. In another alley to the north, I caught the glint of shining metal in an alleyway.
Okay.
So as a group, do we want to go after the ghouls? Do we want to go after the cloaked figures? Or do we want to go find what the shiny was?
Shiny.
As far as the let's see, as far as the illusory script goes, the way I'm going to handwave you being able to add other people to be able to see it, you're in Artificer and you're basically setting down these little device things as virtual breadcrumbs, as it were.
Okay.
He was
why don't we just say they're like attached to an internal network, unlike your gauntlet or something, or your equipment, and you can just
I could
update
easily
permissions.
justify that mechanically without a hand wave, Jaime.
Okay. Basically, it's just a result of
actions. I spend 1 use of my magical tinkering to connect them. So magical tinkering is just another form of flavor ability that artificers have, but it's just like prestidigitation, just like minor illusion. There's a list of minor uses that can be done, but at the end of the day, it's as broadly usable as a GM allows it to be. Same with any flavor ability. So yeah, I use 1 to link the things together. And then I still have 3 uses left.
Okay. Sounds good. I was gonna say, basically, you're making a little internal network and you're updating permissions.
Yep, I like that. So Kirk wants to go after the shiny. What about you, Yolan? The shiny didn't look like it was moving to me. The ghouls are moving, and the 4 hooded figures are moving.
The hooded figures catch my interest, but that's me.
Yeah. Ghouls are going to be a straight up fight, so.
I don't know if you've realized this, but Gilman's not loot happy.
What is Rowan's passive perception, by the way?
Passive perception, 15.
Okay.
That makes me nervous.
Well, the reason why I ask is because apparently that means that Thurkira is the one with the highest passive perception.
What's his passive perception?
19.
Oh,
Jesus.
geez. Yeah, because Gilwin's is 18.
Yep.
I think mine's 14.
Okay, so while looking
past me.
While looking at the paper, Thurkira kind of just looks down at the imp body, leans down, picks up a coin.
Do we notice him picking up the coin?
Yeah, he's not doing it stealthily. He's in fact examining it with it in his hands.
I would.
What do you got there?
Yeah, Gilman would be the same way. Hey, what you got there?
It's not a coin of El Terrell, I can tell you that.
Oh yeah.
Wait, did you say a coin? Rowan would be peeked up.
I did.
Rowan would let out a harsh sigh and continue his illusory script painting, and say, I'll take a look in a minute, but does anybody not remember what we discussed back at Candlekeep? Or does everybody just not remember what we discussed back at Candlekeep?
I can't pull it out of the ether. I'm sure it's in there, but if you gave me a hint, I could probably remember it.
Soul coins.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
They have to do with devil contracts.
Give that to Felix when we see him there.
I don't know. We might need out of game. We might need it down here. It's currency of the realm. I don't know the full thing behind it without getting it into my hands and making an arcane check. But
Well, if we have any when we get out,
the long and short is that each coin is a person's soul.
ooh, I'll hang on to it.
Well, currently Thurkir's hanging on to it.
No, and also I'll say, Sakura, I'll hang on to that for safekeeping and make sure that if we find any more, we'll keep them in one place. I mean, hell, I'm already the bank.
What is your Constitution modifier?
What's your mother's maiden name?
You have to look at his character sheet for him, Jaime.
Okay, your Constitution modifier is 1.
Yay! I can take a hit. 1 hit.
Okay. Thurkir hands you the coin, and instantly, you can feel the despair that is seeping from the coin.
Oh, this coin is sad. It needs its friends. We need to go get the rest.
Out of game, Gurk.
Yeah, what's up?
I want to impress the weight upon you that I think Jaime is trying to impress upon you. I know that we're very nonchalant about coins and wealth, and like you're a thief, and like we're always trying to make money and everything else. Unless our characters are evil, I'm pretty sure touching these coins makes us not want to spend them. They do not feel like wealth in our hands in any way. I know, like, you keep making the jokes about we need to find his friends and yada yada yada. But it's a straight up, like, it's a damned soul, but it's a real soul, and so it could be, you know, the soul of a teacher that sold her soul to save the children in her class. So it could be a good person's soul that you're holding in your hand. And soul coins, spending them burns off the use of the soul. Treating them as wealth removes the soul from the existence of the universe.
Carl, I think you misunderstand where I'm coming from because I obviously haven't put it out there yet. I want to get as many of these as I can and set the souls free.
As many of them as you can to what?
Set them free.
The souls free.
Ooh, I don't know if we're able to do that, but that sounds like a great plan. But I guess I wanted to make sure that you as a player understood the weight of a soul coin.
Yes,
so
that's
that,
why
so that it translated into fic.
So, and if Fic is going to play dumb about their importance about them, but that's just the surface. He knows they're there, and he doesn't believe that they should be trapped in the coins. They should go to their perspective afterlife.
Out of game, this is their perspective out of afterlife. Their soul coins even in heaven.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, that's just how they make room for them all.
Oh,
yeah,
then
that's how they make room for the souls of hell, is put them in coins, and then different devils are paid with souls, and then the higher, more powerful a devil is, the more soul coins they obviously have. Including, for every devil out there, there is a soul coin that some other devil owns, so that they own that devil. Like there is a soul coin for every devil in hell.
Right.
And likewise, if we went to heaven, there would be one for every soul in heaven too. But I imagine soul coins in heaven are probably significantly less despair-filled.
Oh yeah,
I would
they're
hope so. I would hope
probably rejoiceful.
Yeah. So it's a physical counterpart to the metaphysical reality of hell, is that somewhere out there right now a soul is being tortured, and while it's being tortured, you're holding its coin in your hand. And that's the despair that you're feeling, that Jaime is saying you're feeling.
I don't like these anymore. They weren't what I thought.
This is why I was like, let me pause this and explain the weight of a soul coin.
Yeah, that's heavy. Like, I need more.
So you're like, oh, it's sad. We need to collect its friends. And then you're staring at it, and you realize while staring at it the weight of it. And you have joked in game about we need to collect its friends, but we all sort of know that in game right now, because you're in Visage, you're actually silent. I feel like we saw you silently like joke about wanting to collect all of them and like putting it into your purse, you know, in a big joking sort of highly animated way, and then you found yourself staring at it. And I feel like for the first time ever, we might have actually heard you break character of Visage and out loud say, I don't like this. This is not what I thought it was. And
I
then
like
all of
that.
a sudden
Like,
you like
that's a cool
look
character
up,
development.
all of a sudden you like look up and you're like, oh, whoops. Did I say
Well,
that
I
out
would
loud?
say, oh look, I would go back to the silent.
You being a godly character, like I'm half inclined to be like, you should hang on to him anyways. But when you say, you know, I don't like this, this is not what I thought it was, I kind of stop my spell casting, and I suggest that it might be best if we just let me hang on to the souls.
I liked the rhythm of that sentence. Did you hear that?
What?
It's already left me, but the last sentence you said just had a really neat rhythm to it. It was weird.
Okay. So,
I don't know.
Rowan walks up with a unique cadence to a sentence and says, then perhaps you should let me hang on to that. Rowan is lawful evil, and how he justifies being lawful evil is he doesn't have a problem with damaging his own soul so that other people don't have to.
Cool.
Honestly, officer, I'm only holding that AK-47 in my trunk so somebody bad doesn't use it.
Yeah. That's actually, I base my lawful evil mentality a lot off of the operative from Serenity.
Mm-hmm.
But
for a world you're not welcome.
My character could justify, like, I totally wouldn't have a problem spending the soul coin. I don't want to kill people. I don't want to be responsible for their fates, but once they're already there, that's their fate. It's my job to make sure that the people I call my allies don't suffer the same fate.
That's a new twist on evil.
Like, well, that's why I really like D&D's lawful evil. I told you, most of the cops in Baldur's Gate are lawful evil, and it's because of a very similar mentality. The most heroic person we met in Baldur's Gate before we left was lawful evil. And that was the new commander, Commander Portier. She is also lawful evil.
Yeah.
Okay. So you wanted to go to the shiny thing?
Well, first I want to see if Fick hands me the coin when I ask for it or not.
Yes.
Also, the coins are artifice. I'm an artificer. Who knows? Given that Girk wants to crack the coins open and set the souls free, maybe I can find a way.
Fair enough.
Is there a save or anything I need to make if I touch it? I'm not going to try to touch it, but I don't know if, like, wearing a glove or wrapping it in fabric when I put it in my pocket is going to stop me from being affected by it.
There is no save associated with it. You're basically just bombarded with the emotions that are contained within the coin of the soul that is within the coin.
Oh, I have a question. What is the societal reaction of seeing these in the open? Like, if someone were just to be walking around having one like in the air, how would people react to that?
I imagine devils would see it as something they want to take from us because they want to spend them and they become more powerful based on how many souls they have. But what about other people, Jaime?
That kind of depends. These are small coins. Let me see what the description is. Oh wait, they're not as small as I thought. They're 5 inches across and about an inch thick.
Jeez,
Sounds like a little medallion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you carry these around like a trophy, people would probably think that you're sick in the head.
I wear it as a necklace instead of giving it to. No, not that big. Because I was thinking if it was just coin size, I was thinking about wearing it as a necklace, but not Flavor Flav.
Yeah, that would be huge on the gnome.
Yeah, right. I sort of envision it as the pirate gold from the first Pirates of the Caribbean, just 5 inches across. Assuming you guys all remember what the pirate gold looked like in the first Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, it was just like an Aztec.
With a skull on it and everything.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? There are pictures of soul coins in this book. I could probably look it up.
Well, what do you know? Echo, set my bedside to 20%.
So Gilman can see it right now.
Yeah.
My books are all downstairs, so I'd have to go find it in the book unless you share it in Discord.
I'm going to share it in Discord anyway, since Gark isn't able to access Fantasy Grounds right now.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. And then Fick wants shiny. Gilwin doesn't care. I would out loud suggest
hooded figures, but
yeah, I would out loud suggest, the hooded figures might move. The shiny didn't look like it was. Fick, are you sure you want to check the shiny first? If Fick says yes, I'm gonna go with it because technically he's the party leader. But
no, we'll do time
I don't want to risk. First. Yeah, I was about to say I don't want to risk the time sensitive.
Hello,
so then, Jaime, after you get that picture loaded, we're gonna go moving towards the hooded figures.
Follow up on an
Sounds good.
Ticket. Our callback number.
That is a soul coin.
The ticket number.
Okay. Definitely looks like something a dwarf would make.
Yeah.
Ooh. I called it artifice, but I feel like it's more like just a standard magic item than it is artifice.
It definitely is.
I've been watching Legends of Tomorrow, and Constantine's, for lack of a better term, soul coin got cracked open in hell in a previous episode, and inside there were like spinning cogs and stuff. And I don't know, that's the visual I sort of had for this, but now I see it more like a solid coin, and I'm expecting to be able to like take it apart when he hands it to me, and then I just stare at it and I'm like, well, fuck, how do I break down the magic in this? You know what? I'll save it for later. Just stick it in my pocket.
Sounds good. So you say you want to do time-sensitive stuff first. You've got ghouls.
We think the guys in the guys in hoods are going to be the most immediate time-sensitive stuff.
Goes to them.
Because we feel like the ghouls aren't anywhere near. Sorry, the ghouls aren't anywhere near.
That is correct.
People, right? If they're near people that we're aware of, we'll go for the ghouls first. But if I didn't see people, we don't know that there are people by them. We're going to go for the hooded figures first.
Sounds good. And no, you didn't see other people around them.
Cool.
Okay, so you went.
Yeah, for all we know, the hooded figures might not be demons. They could be other survivors.
Okay.
Plus, I'm gonna switch from Tallyman to Rowan when we go deal with the ghouls.
Okay.
So I want to save them a little bit.
7.
Excuse me.
So
Was that directed at us or your dogs or what, Cam?
Oh yeah, no, sorry, it was the dogs.
You can't just be like, "Excuse me."
Sorry.
Well, you're excused.
you head to the alleyway that the Tallyman identified to the north. The cloaked figures are nowhere to be seen, but you might still be able to track them.
Are you recommending? So normal tracking in the wild is survival, but can I do it with investigation in this particular case because of it being in a city?
Affirmative.
23.
Okay, you're able to pick up the trail. It leads into a nearby homestead.
Into a homestead. Uh-oh.
What's the
I look at Visage and I put my hand on my weapons and I'm giving him, he doesn't talk, so I'm actively trying not to talk to him unless, I just don't want to break any potential stealth he may have. So I look at Visage, and I say, or request with my body language, weapons at the ready. Like, are we just going to go in swinging, figure out what the hell's going on in here?
I want to send in one person, Nick Fury style.
Don't you know you never split the party? All right, who you sending in first?
That's what I'm trying to think.
I don't know it.
Like you walk in, but it's not like we're splitting the party. It's for drama. You walk in and try and start negotiations. The moment they show any
everybody else readies an action at the windows and the door, but one person walks in.
Right.
All right. Well, who do you want to be your face person?
You.
Why me?
You're
I don't even think I have high. The Tallyman rolls his eyes behind his mask.
No, actually, Gillen should go.
He's kind of a soft touch. I feel like we should let him. Plus, he can heal people.
I'm sorry?
He's the soft touch. So, AKA, he's the one who's most likely to be gentle if they're good guys in the building.
And he's also one of the more tougher ones if they decide not to be.
Yeah. I do have some tankiness, so.
So the rest of us are going to provide cover. We're going to draw weapons, but Gilwen, you're supposed to walk in without your weapons drawn, knowing full well that you have backup.
And I also have kaboom.
Shit tons of spell magic, in case you don't need weapons drawn.
I am a weapon. I can shapeshift into a fucking bear. All right, cool. Yeah, I'll go.
In which case, I suggest to Gilwin which house they went in, which path they went in through, and I do it like military style. Like I point, 2 fingers at my eyes, and then I point at the house, and then I like wave my hand to suggest that he's going in, and then I gesture to me and Fick to suggest that we're going to be here covering. But I use like all hand gestures to try to relay the message.
What do we
And
have?
while you're doing that, I walk up behind Gillen and start just pushing him from behind.
Like, go in the house.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to be stealthy going in. That'd be great. That's a great way to get attacked. Like,
to justify weapon drawn, I totally have my musket drawn, loaded with silver bullet.
Is it a full moon?
You what?
Is it a full moon?
No, but lots of devils and demons, not all, but lots of devils and demons have weaknesses to silver.
Okay.
And I only have 20 silver bullets at the moment, so I'm trying to only use them when I suggest out loud that I use them.
Hello, my name is Robert Locke.
I'm really bad about keeping track of my bolt or my crossbow, but I'm really glad the computer does it for me. And I trust it implicitly. If I have less than I thought I had, the computer says so, it's true. If I have more than I had, the computer says it's true. I don't know. So whatever my sheet says is how many I have at the moment.
Solid. Well, at the moment, you should have like 22 or 23. Because you got a brand new quiver last session.
I'll try. I got a brand new quiver. We have to figure out how to do all that.
How to what?
We just need to remake my character from the ground up.
I'm going to make it for you on D&D Beyond. At the end of this session, I am going to have Jaime make a screenshot of your stat page of your character sheet, just so that I have your 6 stats, and send it to me. And then I'm going to build Fick on D&D Beyond as a swashbuckler rogue with 1 level so far, 6 levels total, but 1 level so far of Bard. And then I'm going to write on the 1 level's worth of stats for your Warlock as well, so that it's just built in D&D Beyond.
That's what's up.
Okay, that'll work.
D&D Beyond is also accessible from your phone. I use my character sheet on my phone, which means that you will if you choose, if your eyes are working well enough, you'll be able to roll your own dice again. You'll just roll it from your character sheet on your phone.
Sometime mid-April, they're gonna fix my eye. Well, try anyway.
Yeah.
I have you know what cataract is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how it normally forms in like an oval or a circular shape on the eye.
Uh-huh.
Mine decided to grow like.
Yours decided to what?
Grow like an octopus.
Oh, cool.
So it's like spider webbed across your eye.
Yeah.
Rough.
I've heard of that. They will probably be able to get like the bulk of it, and that'll help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But
Gillen, you're walking into the house. Do you you said you're not gonna stealth walking in. Do you like perception walking in?
Yeah, definitely perception walking in.
Do you guide your perception as you walk in, or do you just use your passive, or do you just roll?
Customer is.
Remember, you don't have subtle spell casting, so casting guidance. If anybody's watching out the door, they're gonna see you walking up, casting that spell on yourself.
Right. Well, let's see what it
Now,
looks like.
I don't know what your guidance looks like when you cast it, but
No, yeah, it's a somatic and a vocal, so I would have to use my hands and my voice. No, I think my passive 18's pretty
passive
high.
18, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
The only problem, remember, with that passive 18 is 18 will nail the same thing that if you had rolled an 18 on, unless Jaime's module, his book, his rules say that whatever is hidden, you would have disadvantage to find, in which case you have a passive 13. So passives work to notice what is absolutely noticeable, but things that are intentionally hidden are probably going to impose disadvantage on your passive. So it's up to you at what you're looking for.
Just at first, this is more of the passive to, I guess booby traps would be deliberately hidden.
A lot of booby traps would be deliberately hidden. I always make the exception that rogues and rogues alone get to use their passive on traps. But that's because in the old days, rogues had an ability called Trap Finder. And I sort of love that rogues would just recognize a fucking trap. Unless, of course, those traps are animal traps, in which case I would maybe argue that a druid would recognize them.
Yeah. Either way, I'll take the chance, and then I know if it's booby trapped, then I really know it's there's a problem here, and I just need to go in guns blazing. Yep.
Cool. So he's just gonna walk in through the front door or back door or whatever side door that they went in through. I mean, with a passive 18, does he see anything?
Yes. One moment.
How do you see one moment?
I can explain it to you if you would like.
That's a philosophical question. Let's not get started there, guys.
I can explain it in shorthand in just a few sentences.
Oh yeah.
If you would like to see a moment, look in a river. Reach down into that river, scoop up some water, drain all the water out of your hand, drain it on the shore, whatever, but then hold your damp hand over the water so that a single drop of water drips off of your hand and falls back into this raging river. That single drop of water, there's no way you can keep track of it when it falls back in the river, and yet you know exactly where it fell, and you know the speed of the river, so you can notice in moments how much further down the river it's going to make it once that single drop of water hits the river. And in that singular experiment, you have watched a moment happen. A moment in a drop of water.
What Netflix documentary did you get that from?
I actually got it from a Magic the Gathering book, the first Time Spiral book. That is how Teferi explains viewing time is. He wanted to be a time mage ever since he was like a 5-year-old kid, because at 5 years old, he walked up to a river, scooped out some water, dropped it back in, and then he was able to tell where the singular drop of water was a mile down the river. And when he realized he was capable of keeping track of a single drop of water a mile down the river, he realized he could probably track time. And in that moment, Urza sensed his spark.
Huh.
Huh.
That's why I will always remember that definition of time, because it makes sense. That's exactly what trying to view a moment in time is.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. 5-0 something.
You want pancakes?
I heard "is it," and then all of a sudden there's Sawyer in the background. Yes, because of course Sawyer would know.
Of course.
Echo, turn off my bedside. Hi, did you find what you were looking for?
Yes, I have. Well, it wasn't that I was trying to find something. I was trying to build something.
Ah.
And Gilwin, you open you open the door, and you don't even have to be passive. The 4 cloaked figures are standing around the table reaching their long, thin, pale arms towards a corpse that is on top of the table, peeling off pieces of the meat and feasting on it.
Boy, these 4 hooded figures are probably more ghouls. I don't know. We're outside the windows. Do Gurk and I see this?
That does sound like ghouls.
After the door opens, I'll say yes, you can, or you end up looking through and you see them. Specifically, the bodies that are on the table right now, they look like they've been in a state of decay. There is a fresher body that is just kind of thrown haphazardly into a corner.
Yep, because they're wanting the corpses because they're fucking ghouls. I really think we're dealing with ghouls. I don't know what the ghoul lore is in 5e, but ghoul lore in the normal world is ghouls eat corpses.
Yeah.
So I'm suddenly thinking these are more ghouls, but I won't know without an Arcana check, or maybe a Nature check to identify them. But does Gilwin need to roll initiative? Do we need to roll initiative?
The gas look towards the open door and screech, or they look towards the open door and screech. Everyone roll initiative.
Sweet.
22 on my initiative.
6.
That's more accurate, Gilwin.
I feel like Gilwin goes, sorry for interrupting your meal.
So Gilwin got 6. Rowan got a 22, you said?
Yep.
Here, I don't.
And I'm getting ready to roll
Really
for
need-
Fick.
Echo, set my bedside to 20%.
Fick got a 20.
Damn, Fick's fast too.
I'm usually the first to go.
It's a toss-up
Oh,
for me.
now you've said that, and now you've stressed me out. And now my very next level, I'm taking wizard specifically so I can guarantee that I always go first. Way to go, Gurk.
Why?
How's that my fault?
Because I'm pretty sure my character has the highest initiative modifier. So to have somebody say they always go first or always go high up just really made me be like, no, now I go first.
Oh, no, I go first.
If I take level 2 in wizard and instead of taking scribe, so obviously right now my plan is to take scribe. That's been my plan since before character creation. But if I take war wizard, I get my initiative modifier added to my, my intelligence modifier added to my initiative modifier. So I will have a +10 to initiative.
Neat.
Hey,
The only reason I haven't gone that way is because roleplay, I want to be a scribe. But if I encounter more gunslinging and stuff while we're in hell, it's going to justify me being like, well, I'm a fucking gunslinger, I want to go first. Thusly, and that's always been my argument as to what would cause me to go war mage, thusly, having somebody else in the party saying that they're faster than me is sort of incentive for my character to be like, let me prove you wrong.
Challenge accepted.
Cool.
What were you trying to say, Gurk? You hollered at Jaime while I was talking.
I don't remember.
Oh.
It'll come to me.
Well, who goes first?
Rowan.
Rowan. Okay. Rowan's actually going to make an Arcana check for his first one. I mean, you said ghast. We've been saying ghoul. I'm gonna roll an Arcana check because I'm specifically looking for vulnerabilities, but I want to identify what the creature is.
Copy.
14.
Have a CR. Okay. You are able to identify the creatures. They are not ghouls. They are ghasts.
Do I know any ghast vulnerabilities?
You do not remember, or you do not know of any vulnerabilities for them. You know that they are resistant to necrotic and immune to poison.
Then I would say light them up. You would hear from sort of the door right after he walked in. And I'm going to discharge a silver bullet at one of them.
By the way, I do have a battle map.
I'm spending my action surge to get a second action this turn, since my first action was obviously my Arcana check. Yeah.
Before we start combat, because that usually takes forever, may I make a suggestion?
This might be the time to bio.
And I'm gonna fish out. I know it's gonna suck, but I'm gonna fish out my laptop. And
okay, well, just know we're sort of on a limited timetable because it's my work night, so don't take too long.
No, I'm fine. My laptop's nothing, but if we can take a normal bio, I'll be fine.
Okay.
Does that work?
Sure. That'll give me a chance to get a screenshot of this and send it to the Discord.
Okay. Echo, turn off my bedside. Then when we come back, what I have done is made the Arcana check. Out loud, I say, it's ghast. Ghast. It's ghast. Light them up. And you guys see me, like, rack my gun, which, because for flavor, I want it to be this way. It's a lever action. So you see me just rack this lever action and point the gun straight through the window. And right as I'm squeezing the trigger, bio.
Commercial.
I'm gonna set my headset down while I go potty and shit. Well, potty, not shit. Ha 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 ha. Thanks, guys.
So the what's it called? The program doesn't have a very good indoor house battle map, but this is the best that I could come up with. The doorway is going to be only 1 square wide, and it'll be right behind where Gilwin is.
Okay, that makes sense because it basically looks like Thick, Tharkir, and Rowan or Tallyman are at the windows then on that sort of stand on either side of the door.
Yep.
Okay.
BRB?
BRB.
Okay.
Jaime, are you there?
came back and said I'm back before I realized I was muted.
Ah. Well, I'm back, but I kind of messed up. I need Jaime's help. When it said the name that you know by, I changed it to fix, so I just have to change ownership of the character. But I'm. She told you it was time for your help, right?
Too.
Oh, okay. Mm. Come on. Oh, that was an ordeal.
Sorry.
I quit smoking cigarettes, but I'm smoking at prime time right now. It's not weed, so it's outside, even though I'm not supposed to be on my feet. But
Back.
Hello.
hi, back.
Kirk, I didn't say I'm back. I said back.
Delta 4, go to.
Nah, I came through. Then the squawk of the speaker distortion put the I'm in sound in front of what you said.
Well, that's weird.
Speaker's talking for you. That's why they call it a speaker.
That's disconcerting.
Oh man, now I'm gonna cast animate objects on some speakers.
So do y'all remember when it came out that Verizon had sold the data and was basically wiretapping like 99% of its customers? And
I
Verizon,
remember that when it caused a whole issue with Quest
The
cell phones in Colorado because of it, but I do not remember it being the Verizon thing.
yeah, it was Verizon. Like that was part of. I think that's part of what Snowden revealed.
record.
Well, Verizon was like the biggie in the country at the time, and I was on the phone with my buddy, the sniper dude up in New York, paranoid guy. And I'm at Drill, and I'm just chilling outside, like on downtime, talking to him, and we can faintly hear voices in the air, like basically in the background of each other.
I need to thank you.
And I was like, man, you standing near a TV or something? He's like, no, I thought you were. I was like, no, man, I'm at Drill. I'm outside. He goes, I gotta call you back. He just hangs up.
Girk, you changed your name.
I gotta go. Click.
Girk, you changed your name when you logged into Fantasy Grounds, didn't you?
Yes, he did. He was going to talk to you about that, but you weren't here when he first logged in.
Okay, I cleared ownership of Fix, so you should be able to claim it now.
When I'm done with my prime time, I will come in and double click my sheet.
Yay.
I'm letting the dogs run around a little bit too. Get some exercise while it's beautiful out. I'm gonna do a fire tonight, I think.
Does anybody else
That would be
hate
cool.
the time change?
Hate what?
The time change.
Yes. It's really affecting me with me having to go back to work tonight.
I didn't notice it. When was it?
It happened
night.
last night at 2 a.m.
Oh. So I actually got up at 9 a.m., not 10 a.m.?
Other way around. It's right now. It's an hour later. So if you woke
'Cause
up
when
and
I
your
woke up,
clocks
Well,
in the
no,
house
yeah.
said
My
both were
clock
talking.
said 10.
So if your clock said 10, then it was 11.
Okay.
Hang on, guys. My brother is calling me. Hello. Yo.
Hi. Yo. Did he finally mute himself?
I think you did.
Yeah. Come on, boys, let's go. You too, Ichigo. Come. Ichigo. Oh, shit.
You said I identified them as ghasts. Are ghasts undead, Jaime?
Yes.
Ichigo, come. Inside.
The only two that I made was that cup from earlier. When you responded with your response, I thought you said that you wanted 2 hugs. Fine. BRB.
Yep.
Okay. Oh. Carl.
Yep.
I have a 17 to my initiative. Or, sorry. A +4 to my initiative. And that's it.
Yeah. I know.
And I just usually roll really high.
Yeah, I didn't actually intentionally make my guy have his as high as he is. It's just the race I pick also gets to add their proficiency to their initiative. So that's why I'm like, somebody tells me they're faster than me, like apparently even racially I'm supposed to be fast. So I'm inclined to be like, nope, watch me be faster.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
And yeah. So apparently Oreo asked for tea, and and it was immediately after I asked for a hug, so I misheard him and thought that he wanted 2 hugs and realized he wanted tea, so I have water on for tea now.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Actually, I don't have how do I have a... Oh, that's my dex modifier.
Tea?
Oh, I'm trying to figure out initiatives and stuff.
Yeah, everybody's just got their dex mod. My dex mod is only 3, but I also get my proficiency bonus to it because of my race, and that's also 3. So that's why I have a 6.
And Goliath has danger sense. I think he gets an advantage on it.
His weapon gives him advantage on it on initiatives.
Right.
So he has a really low initiative modifier, but he gets to roll with advantage on every initiative.
That's right, because it's a weapon of warning.
Mm-hmm. Wes and I had a long crack about it because before he had me design that weapon for him, the weapon I had originally designed for Rowan was a weapon of warning. So I basically just copy and pasted my weapon of warning design over to the weapon that he is now using because he wanted a weapon of warning.
Interesting.
Yeah. That was when I decided, okay, well, if I'm not going to give Rowan a weapon of warning, maybe I won't worry about my initiative modifier. But then I realized that I still have that my proficiency bonus to it. And if I take the right wizard class, I also get my intelligence modifier to it.
That's funny.
That's why I keep telling Cam when he goes ranger, he needs to go umbral stalker because umbral stalkers get their wisdom modifier to it.
Ooh.
And Gurks will actually go up when we remake his character sheet because swashbucklers get their charisma modifier to theirs.
Neat.
What is my charisma modifier? +2.
+2. So yours would end up being a +6 initiative on your correct character sheet, Kirk.
Sorry, guys.
It's all right. Welcome back.
Cotter.
Dylan was hoping I could pick up a medication for him. And he didn't realize it was Sunday and that the pharmacy's closed.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
I hope it's not something super important.
Well, it's an antibiotic that he's supposed to be taking. That he should have started taking today. And he was asleep all day because that's just how he is.
Fair.
And it's not really his fault, but because I understand why he sleeps all day, but he just didn't realize. So.
Fair enough. All right, are we all back?
I believe
I
we
think
are.
so.
Yep.
Okay. Finishing my second action. 24 to hit with the musket. Firing at Discord map. Oh, the one directly in front of me, closest to going.
Okay. Let's see. Is there any way that I could put like? Oh, that's weird. Is there a way that I could put like indicators or markers on these things so I can easily identify them?
Identify
Like differentiate between them in case they move.
the creatures?
Yes.
Don't they usually have names?
Don't they normally
Oh, well,
have
we're
like
not-
a little dot below them that shows their information? Like if you mouse over them, they'll say creature 1, creature 2, creature 3, creature 4.
I guess maybe normally. But
Can you? Oh, the combat tracker isn't working.
yeah,
Oh no, wait. No, yeah, it's not working.
Yeah, short of modifying their tokens visually, the token images, and putting unique token images down, I don't know what to do for that.
Mm.
Can you change the ring colors?
I can't because that's a part, or that's a built-in part of the images that are in.
So that's another thing he would have to do to modify the actual image because they're part of Fantasy
Yeah.
Ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. But yeah, let's.
I mean, you could basically just put everybody in the tracker but me and do it normally. Especially now that Gurk is also logged in.
I turned on the wrong burner, didn't I? Oh, I'm so stupid. I turned on the wrong burner for tea. Instead, I had on a frying pan that didn't have anything in it, thankfully.
Oh.
Been there, done that.
Didn't damage the pan, I hope.
No, I don't think so. I'm surprised he lets me around the stove anymore.
I have to.
Jaime,
What?
buy a coffee machine and use it only for tea.
We have a coffee machine.
Use it for tea. Works great.
I might just have to start doing that just to heat up the water. It's one of those single serve ones.
Or an electric kettle.
Okay, so basically I had to delete all the ones that I had on the map, add them into the combat tracker, and then pull them from the combat tracker onto the battle map.
Gotcha.
See, honestly, the battle maps are probably the biggest reason why I miss Roll20. TBH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the maps were easier.
There's a flaw in Fantasy Grounds Classic, and I'm actually really bugged that I let Wes talk us all into getting Fantasy Grounds Classic, and that he talked me into it so that I ended up spending like $400 on Fantasy Grounds Classic, because Fantasy Grounds Unity works a lot more like Roll20.
I see. Either way, the one that you're shooting at is Ghast 1.
Yeah. Do I hit it?
Oh. It's letting me update it. It's letting me update the tracker.
Yay!
Nice.
Hey.
All right, one moment. I'm
That's still at
transcribing
national. Oh, okay.
things over.
Okay.
Actually, it looks like everything has been transcribed now. Felix! Or, sorry, Rowan. We need to get you a Rowan character in here.
Yeah, we do. We haven't, because right now it's all built on Beyond because of not having an access to a computer.
Yeah.
Anyways, do I hit?
Your roll was 20-something?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna actually use my original roll, which was 19, which I rolled before we took our bio, so it's actually lower than 20-something, but 19 to hit its armor class.
That is a hit.
This is Silver Bullet. Before I try pumping it, it's 9 damage I'm sorry, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage. I don't know why it didn't add it together. It just like glitched out in the builder. I rolled a 9 plus 3. So 12 damage. Does the silver affect it?
It is not.
Okay, then I am also going to pump that damage. Move this into the regular builder. I'm going to spend psionic energy to do a bonus d6 plus 4 and my wrath. So he's going to take a bonus d6 plus 7. For another 10 damage on top of, what did he take for? 9, 10, 11, 12. So 22 total damage from that shot.
Excellent.
Shattering the window. And then my bonus action. Which is my homunculus servant on my shoulder for a 7 versus armor class.
That is a miss.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, pass turn.
Pick.
Can you share the map, please?
Oh, right, I forgot. You're actually in Fantasy Grounds again. No. There you go.
Appreciate it. Which one did he shoot?
The closest
right in the
one.
front.
It is the one in front.
Yeah. Yes, one.
And remember, when you're looking at the map, you and I are looking through windows. Gilwin has stepped through a center door, and it's only a single square wide for the door. So I fired through, shattering the window. Okay.
I too am going to shoot him.
The same one?
Yes.
If you try to shoot the same one, he's going to have a +2 to his armor class, whereas the one just in front of Gilwin is going to be his normal armor class. Technically, you have to shoot through Gilwin's square to try to shoot the one that I shot.
All right, then I'll shoot gas number 2, the one up 1 square and over.
Copy.
That will work.
Did you need me to roll it for you still, or do you got it?
No, I got it. It's just slow going because it's on my laptop, and I don't have a normal mouse.
I understand. Just wanted to make sure. I didn't know how good your site was.
Site's actually doing pretty good today.
Fantastic.
Did it go? My character sheet's in the way.
It did.
26 to hit.
You hit. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Working on it. Aw.
6 damage.
That's a lousy roll. And then I'm gonna cast Bardic Inspiration on Gillen.
Bardic Inspiration takes an action.
Oh, I thought it was a bonus.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a bonus?
I'm pretty sure.
To do so, you use a bonus action on your turn to choose one creature other than yourself within 60 feet of you who can hear you. That creature gains 1 Bardic Inspiration die. Though for Gurk, we technically got to use can see you, but you know, same thing. Once within the next 10 minutes, the creature can roll the die and add the number rolled to an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw it makes.
And you're applying it to Gilwin, you said?
Yes.
Sweet. You have a bonus D6 to one of your checks, Gil.
Cool.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to do during your turn? I believe you still have a movement action.
Yeah, I want to get in close and personal. I want to move. No, that's drawing a line. I don't want to draw a line. Do you see that line I just drew?
Yes.
That's where I want to end up. I can't seem to grab.
Yeah, I've noticed. Yeah, I've noticed I can't grab mine either.
Weird. Let me. Well, I will delete the token and just pull it from the tracker.
That might work. Huge.
Okay, now try.
Nope, still a line.
Curious.
Hell, I can draw lines.
Don't know why it's not letting you control your character. That seems silly. And you said you couldn't control your character either?
Yeah, same. I get lines.
Oh, it's giving me the option to unlock tokens.
Yep.
Ah.
Okay, now try moving them. Yay!
Yeah.
Excellent. Alright, is there anything else you can do during your turn, Fick?
Probably, but there's nothing else I'm going to do.
Copy. Gilwin.
For my bonus action, which I'm going to do first. Well, does it take a full I didn't come in here with weapons drawn, so does it take an action for me to draw the scimitar?
It can be part of a move action, if I remember correctly.
So it counts as an item interaction to draw a weapon. You get one item interaction for free. If you are activating an item you draw, then that technically also counts as an item interaction. If it happens to be a magic item activation counts as an action. You're just drawing a sword. But if you want to draw it and activate its ability, that counts as your action.
Well, if I draw it, it's a bonus action to activate
Yes,
the ability.
its ability normally counts as a bonus action. But
right.
To activate a magic item's ability counts as an action, as far as drawing is concerned. Otherwise, it's considered your item interaction. So if you're drawing it and trying to use it in the same turn, it would count as an action.
Okay. Then in that case, that'll be my action.
Is draw and trigger the bonus action it has?
Yes.
Excellent. Which is the...
The dancing property.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. I basically just yeet it into the nearest ghoul. For the first time, I speak the word and throw it. It goes blade first, stab. Even though scimitars aren't
I
really a
need
stabbing
somebody
weapon.
to get right up next to him so I can come in and flank their ass. Just so you know. That's my battle tactic from day one until we get swashbuckler out.
Until we get the swashbuckler on your character sheet, and then in which case you can just go 1-on-1 with them.
Yeah, that is. I need you, motherfucker. I'm trying to play with my friend here. Stay out of the way. I'll chop your legs off.
From day one, he's been trying to get somebody to help him fight people, and now he's given up on it. So now, if you get in his way, he's gonna get upset.
Yep.
I can run inside, but I don't.
And hide.
My magic weapon that would do bonus damage against them is one of Rowan's magic items, not Tally's magic item. So I have to change costume, and I can't do that with other people standing outside with me that don't know who I am.
Are we underground?
No, we're in a
No,
house.
we're in
We're
a house.
standing outside a house.
Oh.
Did you already go inside, Fick?
Yes. Oh, sorry. I
yeah.
went inside. I am. You know how knight moves in chess?
Yeah.
2 up, 1 over. I am that many squares from the one that you shot, and I'm just so I can hop into range when somebody gets in there, so that I can flank them and
Awesome.
get my sneak attack.
Thurkir knows who I am, and it's a non-action for me. The moment you went into the building, I switched into Rowan.
Oh, you just don't want me to know?
Yeah, you still don't know. You're the only member that's present that doesn't know yet.
I know.
I don't
figured
really
it out.
care. Vic really doesn't care.
I wait for a good roleplay moment for it to come up. It was a good roleplay moment when I revealed myself to Gilwyn, so I'm basically just waiting for a good roleplay moment to reveal myself to you.
I have a great reaction in my head, so it's gonna be fun.
But yeah, either way, so non-action. The moment you went in, I changed my form. Who's next?
It's
next
still my
is, or yeah,
because I'm gonna cast Eldritch Blast as my bonus action on the one.
Eldritch Blast is an action.
Is it an action? Oh, I thought it was about.
Hex is a bonus action.
Yeah. That's right. Okay. Yeah, I'll do Hex then.
Hex, one of the ones we haven't hit yet.
Yeah, I was gonna hex the one. I was gonna hex the one to the north, but I think I'm gonna do it the one closer. Huh?
One down, one to the left.
What's that?
They're numbered in the tracker, so just look at the numbers on the tracker.
Number 2.
Number 2 was actually hit by Fick. For some reason, it didn't update the damage on there.
Yeah, I hit number 2 already once.
So I hit number 1. Fick hit number 2. Frankly, if we're smart, we'll focus on singular targets, but it's up to you guys.
Singular targets each, or all of us ganging up?
No. All of us ganging up on one target at a time.
Cast it on number 1.
I was gonna throw the sword at the one that's damaged. At Ghoul 1.
So there's 2 damaged. Also, if you use your bonus action before you use your action, you will deal bonus damage with Hex. Oh. So whichever one you throw the sword at is the one you should Hex.
Oh, okay. And let me
Order of operation.
Read it. Yeah, bonus action. Oh, okay. I'll do that then. I'll hex it and then yeet it with the sword.
Which one are you hexing?
Ghast 1.
Okay, the one when you hex it, you choose one of its 6 stats. It gets disadvantage to whichever stat you pick. So my advice is look at your spells, and any of your spells that have saving throws, what do they target? Like all of mine target Dex.
No, not the ones that I'm going to use.
But yeah, that's basically the point of hex. Is by hexing them, you give them disadvantage on one of their.
I'm gonna give them
things.
disadvantage on strength.
Okay. So suddenly the ghast looks weak, physically weak. Now, when you deal an attack to him, you will also deal a bonus 1d6 damage to him because he's hexed.
Okay.
And then if you move,
And-
please move to the square directly north of him.
To the square directly north of him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you'll have enemies on two sides, but we got this.
Right. Yeah. So I can just roll it on him, can't I?
That's a hit.
Damage. Oh, plus 1d6. How do I add a...
Well, if we can add the hex effect to him.
Oh,
So
I know how to do that.
The way it works, you don't add the hex effect to the target in Fantasy Grounds. You just, before you roll damage, click the hex effect on yourself. Click the hex spell cast on yourself. Then when you roll your damage, it will auto add the d6.
Neat.
Neat.
Or at least it should.
14.
That's how it did it when I used to do it when with Boston.
What did he resist?
The necrotic.
Probably necrotic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hex is necrotic damage.
Yeah.
So he only received a half of that d6.
So he only took
So
out of
got
14
one extra
damage.
damage.
He only took he took 12 damage.
But what I mean is he resisted one of those two dice that were rolled. Only the d6's worth.
Yeah. So
hex is worth.
he got an extra one. No. Oh yeah, so he only got 12. I rolled 14, he took 12 damage.
Yeah.
Finally.
And yeah, screw it, I'll move. Boop.
Yeah, I get to poke somebody. Bust out with like 312 damage. She had 1 hit point.
All right. So next is Thurkir.
They're already dead. Doesn't he want to eat them?
Well, I mean,
Actually, before I do Thurkir's turn, was there anything else you want or you could do during your turn?
no, that's it.
Okay. So Thurkir is going to rage.
That's perfect. I'll remember that on my phone.
And then he is going to charge in. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I kind of hope he flies over my shoulder through the shattered window. Since he's right behind me. And I just feel like that's a solid rage thing to do. Like, thanks for opening the window for me.
You know what? Sure. He just leaps over, or he leaps over Rowan through the window, and just goes after Ghast 4.
I can see him roaring as he does this. As he lands, just
See, I don't picture a roar. Like, I mean, he's a lizard folk, but I
It's
picture
more of a
snarl.
hiss.
an alligator man.
Yeah.
I see him go all like predatory, and like his tail is whipping when he throws himself using all 4 limbs through the window. That's sort of what I see.
Alligators roar, and it is fucking scary.
I don't know that I've ever heard an alligator roar.
They do it when they're threatened. And the bigger the alligator, the bigger the sound. So a little alligator, it's more of a hiss, but a big alligator, it's like a throaty, just whoa.
So Ghast 1 is actually going to get an attack of opportunity on Thurkir.
No, he hasn't moved an unthreatened space yet.
Yes, he has.
How? He's still threatened where he ended up.
Well, Thurkir goes 1, 2 over Felix.
Okay.
Goes diagonal down 1.
Okay.
Forward, he's now south of the.
Space.
Oh, he is 1. Okay, I get it.
Okay.
You can enter a threatened space, but it's exiting a threatened space. So does he exit one to get to his target?
He actually exits 2 of them to get to his target.
Into more separate spaces. He's still in that grid.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter when you move through one threatened space.
Yeah. Well, when you exit a threatened space, you trigger it. However it's threatened, if you exit any threatened space, it triggers it.
See, I was under the impression that what you had the space around a square around surrounding.
So when I say exit a threatened space, you have to move at least 5 feet away from the threatened space, like from the target that's threatening said space. If you circle the target, you're not exiting a threatened space.
Yeah, that's basically what he's doing.
No. You have to actually move away from the target to prompt it.
Oh, okay.
You can spin circles around him all day long.
Yep.
I will go ahead and play with that ruling for now, but I actually feel like that's incorrect.
I mean, I'm actually 100% certain because I read yesterday.
Huh.
But it's worth looking up. But yeah, no. Moving out of a threatened square triggers it. But to justify that it's moving out of a threatened square, you have to move into a non-threatened square by that singular target. Otherwise, you're not considered moving out of the threatened square. You're still threatened by that singular target all the way around it.
Okay. Well, either way, he is going to or he leaps over Rowan, basically charges on all fours towards Gas 4, and leaps and chomps down. Got a 23 to bite.
I smack him on the ass as he runs by me.
He's raging. Be real careful.
Carl, this is thick. This is thick we're talking about.
This is Thurkir we're talking about. He's raging. I'd be real careful.
Thick might ride him like a rodeo clown. Who did that real low, throaty Bill laugh?
That was Cam.
Alright, for 7 damage, and he's going to use his Hungry Jaws. So he gains 7 temporary hit points.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, it's equal to his Constitution modifier.
So 20.
Which is 4.
Which is 4. Of course, Cons is high stat. Sure, he's a Pally Barb. Or a Ranger Barb.
Yup.
Next.
Next is the Gas turn. Ghast 1 is going to or Ghast 1 is going to oh shoot.
I'm actually curious about the gas. Like, how do they react to this? They're in the middle of dinner when we walk through the door. And then all of a sudden we just what's the meme with Danny DeVito and the guns? So anyways, I started blasting.
Have you seen that show? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I'm not a fan of it.
Oh, I loved it. It was great.
How do they react, Jaime?
I mean, they're just undead mindless things. They're like, more food.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if they were mindless or not.
Okay.
They're
so
a ghoul with a longer tongue.
Ghast 1 attacks and fumbles. They miss. I mean, that stands to reason after being blasted through the window and then shanked by the sword.
And hexed.
And hexed. They're just kind of a little disoriented. It would make sense that they were a little disoriented.
Mm-hmm.
She went to go throw something like a knife at you and just grab something off the table that was just gelatinous and just threw it on your shirt and you just... I just washed this.
Okay, Ghast 2 is going to attack Gillen.
Good call.
That one looks like it's a hit.
Damn.
23?
Yeah.
For 6 damage. And it looks like it forced a concentration save on you for some reason. Oh, okay, it expired your guidance.
I had clicked guidance earlier, but I changed my mind.
Oh, okay. It is going to proc a constitution save on you.
Okay.
Which it looks like you failed.
Oh boy.
It even calls you a failure in the tracker.
Did you
shit,
already
man,
spend
paralyzed.
your did you already spend your bardic inspiration?
I did not.
You can roll that d6 to boost your save. I don't know what you rolled on your save.
Ooh.
I rolled a 7. So.
Yeah, you can roll a d6 to boost that. Otherwise, you can also spend your inspiration point if you have an inspiration point to re-roll that save.
The bardic inspiration, you'd have to roll a 1 to fail. No.
I rolled a 5.
He rolled a 5, so he's got a grand total of 12 on that saving throw. I don't know what he needs for that Constitution
A
saving
10.
throw.
It
He
says
just failed. He needed a 10?
Yep. So you passed.
Okay.
Cool.
And your bardic inspiration is spent.
Sweet.
Girk, your
Well
interpretive
used.
dance just helped his
You, Girk.
Constitution.
Thank you, Girk.
All right.
I
Next
need
one's turn.
them healthy.
Whose turn?
The third guy.
Third Ghast. Okay.
Yes. Ghast number 3, who is going to circle around and attack Thurkir. He is also going to try and claw at him. And fumbles again. And this one fumbles as well. These guys do not do well when they, or when they're...
Startled?
Yeah, well, when their dinner is interrupted, I guess.
Should I...
They don't do well when their dinner's
guy?
alive.
Should I be the bad guy for the sake of the rules?
What?
Don't they get flanking?
No.
Bad guys don't get flanking like we do?
Mindless creatures don't.
Okay.
So that definitely just proved that they're mindless creatures.
Yeah, flanking is entirely a tactical thing.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate your honesty.
I don't. Way to go, Garrick.
Alright, Ghast number 4 also attempts to attack Thurkir and misses.
Well, at least it wasn't a fumble.
No, it wasn't a fumble. And that brings it back up to Rowan.
Can I get a new map, please? Because it sounds like a whole lot of movement happened.
Yeah.
Yep, I am working on it unless someone can get it to you quicker.
while you're doing that, I'm going to explain the flavor of everything that just happened from my perspective. So I fired the first shot, said, light them up. Gurk came through, cracked somebody. Gilwin cracked somebody. They're moving around on the inside. We're getting ready to go. And I think to myself, I really hate the fact that the lizard man couldn't successfully shoot at the frickin' imp because he didn't have a ranged attack. So I reach onto my back and I pull this massive heavy crossbow out of my handy haversack as like a soliloquy. I pull out the haversack, heavy crossbow, without looking behind or anything. I'm just like reaching into the back blindly. And as I'm pulling it out, I go, here, do you know how to use this? Reaching behind me, and I just like let go of it, thinking that Thurkir has it, and instead I hear it thud the ground as Thurkir like parkours over me through the window, snarling, and then like everything else happens inside.
Nice. Do you pick up the crossbow?
No, not at this particular case. I'm gonna leave it there. I'll pick it up at the end of the fight.
Teehee.
Watch. We're gonna have a total party kill because you forgot to go back and get the crossbow right now.
The crossbow does less damage than my musket does. I'm not worried about it. Holy gee whiz. Okay, counting from top to bottom, what are my numbers for the ghasts?
2, 1, 4, 3.
2, 1, 4, 3. Okay. Gurk, which one are you gonna go after?
I'm going to be diagonal towards the career. So
you're going to be behind Thurkir, flanking the one that Gilwin's fighting?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one I originally attacked. That's why I wasn't sure. Red dot tells me he's looking pretty wounded. I'm not going to go after him then. The two corpses, Jaime, are they like on a table?
They are.
Well, as quick as all of that, they're not the only things on that table. I enter, so 5, 10, 15, 20. I enter the square behind Thurkir, but 25. I go to the square that's basically up on top of the corpse. I'm a small creature. I bunny hop up onto the table so that I'm like eye level in that square. If that's all right with you for my move action.
Sounds good.
So that I'm basically adjacent to Gilwin and right next to Thurkir, just above Thurkir. Putting me into the center of all of it. And as I get there, you guys notice that it's a Rowan, not Tallyman, in the light. And
Biggie,
a crystal blue blade of solid sunlight comes forth into my hand. Yeah. Because, hey, this sword does bonus damage to undead.
All right.
I go to my actions. $17 versus armor class, and I am targeting the one immediately to the north.
That would be Ghast 2. That is a hit.
Way to roll low. Stupid thing. 6, 7. I rolled a 1 on, so I get 2d8 damage, and I rolled a 1 and a 7. So that's annoying. 8. 15. Damn it! I don't want to spend points. Oops, points on my other stuff. Ignore that last roll. 14. 17. What the hell? I will. Oh, I'll trigger my favorite foe on it, which is a bonus d4 damage. Which I'll also roll a 1 on. 18. Fine, I'll spend my stupid psionic energy point. And I rolled a 1 on it. 19. But I also get my intelligence mod because I did that. So 20, 21, 22, 23 damage.
Wow.
How many freaking ones am I going to roll?
At least one more.
So 23 damage as my sword cuts into it.
Okay.
I'm going to use my bonus action to get irritated.
You're going to use your bonus action to get irritated?
Yeah, because I can't believe I just rolled that many fucking ones. 5. So d20 plus 5. 24 versus AC. It's a ranged attack coming from my homunculus on my shoulder, so technically it provokes an attack of opportunity from all 3 things surrounding me.
Oh boy.
If they choose to take it. If they choose to take it. I don't know if they'll choose to take it. That's technically also a tactical decision. But do I hit?
How much?
23 versus AC.
Biggie.
Yeah, that's a hit.
For a D4 plus 3. Jesus fucking God.
I will say that since you just hit it, Gas 2 will go ahead and take the attack of opportunity against you, but the others won't.
Well, it's not against me, it's against my homunculus servant.
Okay.
15 AC. He's basically getting a chance to swing at the turret on my shoulder. If he recognizes it as a separate creature, he can target it.
And it's at disadvantage now, right?
No.
If it's strength.
I thought that it would be a disadvantage since it's technically mounted on you.
No. So, I mean, arguably, yes, that's how it works, but no. We are small creature. I'm a small creature. It's a tiny creature. We're fighting a medium creature. Size for advantage, disadvantage doesn't apply, but the creature and I both provide each other 1 layer of cover, aka a +2 to AC.
Oh, I see.
So he's got a 15 AC, and because of him being on my shoulder, I have a 20 AC.
Nice. It rolled a 12.
It rolled a 12?
Yep.
So it misses.
Yep.
Well, I, once again, rolled a damn 1 on my damage die.
All right.
That's about as annoying as it gets. Oops, I didn't want to go in there. Fuck! Now I need to look at the log.
You know what makes you feel better, Carl? Throwing a car to down the street to distract the police.
Right. Extras.
You
I
would
can't
go
see my extras on this. I have to go to the frickin' website to see my extras. I just want to double check the damage I do. I think I only do another 4 damage. Because of only rolling a 1. Yeah. So another 4 total damage from that attack.
4 damage, you said? 4 damage, you said?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I'm super irritated. Pass turn. I had so many dice I could roll for damage that turn. I think I rolled 5 separate dice, and on 4 of them rolled a nat 1.
Wow.
So I literally walked in the room and was like, how much minimum damage can I do?
Carl,
Yeah?
get the tower. Take
It's
the
what?
fate out of your hand. Get the tower. Take fate out of your hand.
Right?
What do you need to do?
Okay, it is the fixed turn.
All right, now here's where I'm gonna have you help me, Jaime. I'm taking a partial move. I'm going to sneak attack this guy, but I can't figure out how to do it with the laptop. Can you help me go through the process?
I can try.
Right.
I'm responding to my boss via
I mean, I can
text.
help
One
you.
moment.
What do you need? Like, I don't understand what
Well,
you need to do it, though.
I yeah, I don't know how to apply it. I used to have his shortcut keys, but they're gone.
I mean, your best bet's just going to be to roll your extra d6 damage after the fact, because you have to roll to attack first. Then you apply sneak attack. Then you roll your damage. That's how you have it built. Is roll your attack roll first. If you succeed on your attack, then you know you're going to be doing your bonus sneak attack damage. So you click your sneak attack button on your character sheet's abilities, and then you roll your damage for your weapon. In doing so, it applies the sneak attack as bonus dice on top of your regular weapon damage.
So you think it's attack first, then sneak attack damage. If I have, but I have advantage right now because of flanking. So I am going to attack. Hang on, that'll probably help if I hit the weapon. Oh shit. A 23 to hit Gast 1.
That's a hit.
Okay.
Gurk, I was wrong with something I told you 2 sessions ago. You can Booming Blade and Sneak Attack in the same turn. Sneak Attack just requires an attack to have happened with a weapon. Booming Blade is a spell, but it's a spell that requires the use of a weapon. Sneak Attack stacks with it. So right now you would be doing 2d8 plus 3d6 damage to this guy if you booming bladed.
I'm not doing sneak attack on this guy.
Even though you have advantage and worked everybody into advantage so that you could?
Yeah, because I lost where it was. I lost the button.
I mean, it's just 3 bonus d6, so if you don't click the button, you know you just got to roll 3 extra d6.
See, he took 7 more damage. How's he looking?
Wait, Devil's Bane. 7 more damage on top of that?
What do you mean? That's my. Oh no, I still have. I have to add the 3d6. Hang on. Plus 12 more. So 25.
12 and 7? Oh,
I
don't know, maybe
rolled-
there are other numbers there. Those were the only numbers you said
I
out
rolled
loud.
a 7 plus 6 gives me 13. Then the sneak attack damage that I rolled was 12.
Gotcha. So 25.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, the Ghast is dead. You run your rapier through him, and it just oh.
Can I be a little bit more gruesome than that? Just a little bit.
Sure.
I stab my rapier into him, and so it goes all the way through him. Kick him punch him in the gut as he bends over. I run over and pull my rapier out the other side.
So you want to run him all the way through. You want to pull it through his corpse since he's a ghastly creature.
Right. You can't do that with living people. The tendons are all gooey and sticky and stuff.
Yeah, I stand by Fick secretly evil.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like
to... yes, I'm gonna finish my movement. I don't know. Where was I gonna go? Where was I?
You could go adjacent to the one that Gilwin is, so basically come across the table, come through my square to that one. You would provoke an opportunity attack from the one nearest the Kier doing that, but you'd have advantage next turn against number 2.
And I would have advantage against it in my turn next.
How many squares do I get?
30 feet. 25 feet. You're a guy, plus you can use your bonus action to move twice.
I can get there. I can go the long way around and not provoke an opportunity. If I
you can.
Nice.
Yeah, you can. It's less flavorful. You run around the room, but I respect it.
Well, as a gnome, he can do that. Well, couldn't he run under?
He'd still go adjacent to that guy and then move out of that square.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not, go ahead, like, he moves over there, makes himself adjacent, that's fine. It totally makes sense from a player perspective. I'm just in-game giving in-game shit of, oh, that's boring. Runs around instead of doing, like, a ninja flip over the table up next to me.
No, I got that.
He's a rogue. He moves like a shadow.
Yeah, he's going to go to the wall and then move down the wall, because that's the smarter move anyways. I get it. Doesn't change anything about how I feel, but I get it. Girk, do you pass turn after you get over there? Or do you use your bonus action while you're over there?
I did use my bonus action to get there.
Oh, you should have been able to use your normal move to get there. Yeah, your normal move could have successfully gotten you there.
Oh, because you could have gone through the ghast or the dead ghast through Gilwin's.
Well, he wouldn't have gone. Oh yeah, I guess he could have gone through the dead ghast and then Gilwin's. I was having him go through the sword and then Gilwin's, but same math still comes up to 25 feet. Either way, he had plenty of room.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
You'd still have your bonus action, so you're gonna stay there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Gilwin.
What to use? I'm just going to use...
For the record, Girk, You could, in the future, use your bonus action to use the disengage action. If you disengage as a bonus action, your movement for the rest of the turn does not provoke opportunity attacks.
Interesting.
So bonus action, disengage, move action, go across the table because you're disengaged from combat. They can't bonus attack you or opportunity attack you anyways.
Awesome.
And then swashbucklers, just so you know, have another ability that says any creature they deal melee damage to in a turn, they do not provoke attacks of opportunity from. The idea is you run up to them, you stab them, and then you run away. And they can't strike you for running away.
Booming Blade would work great for that.
Yep, because they've got to move to get to you.
Chase the little fucker down.
But just wanted to get that out there. Gilwin, your turn.
I am going to use Thorn Whip. Or can I use it that close?
If you use Thorn Whip, you will provoke an attack of opportunity because it's a ranged attack while you have a melee attacker adjacent to you.
Actually, he won't. That ghoul specifically used it attack of opportunity already.
Yeah, in this particular case, he's already used his attack of opportunity, but normally it would provoke an attack of opportunity.
Right.
It just says a melee spell attack.
A melee spell attack?
It doesn't say ranged. It just says it has a range of 30 feet.
Yeah, but
because it would say ranged attack, a ranged spell attack.
Let me read Thorn Whip on the Beyond itself.
Yeah,
because it's all in how it's worded. One action, instantaneous, range area 30 feet. Yeah. Make a melee spell attack against the target. If the attack hits, the creature takes a d6 piercing, and if it's large or smaller, you pull it up to 10 feet closer to you. Oh, wow. It's got a range of 30 feet, but it's considered a melee spell attack. I would argue that if you're using it against an adjacent target, personally, I would argue that if you're using against an adjacent target, it doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity. If you're using it against a further target while you have a target adjacent to you, because you're using it at range, I feel like that would provoke. It would treat it as a ranged attack. But that's me. That's me being the devil's advocate.
Fair enough.
Because the way it works is melee attacks, if they're spell attacks, do not provoke attacks of opportunity. Ranged attacks, if they're spell attacks, do provoke attacks of opportunity. But this is a 30-foot ranged melee spell attack. So I don't really... This requires a DM fiat, in my opinion, Jaime. Like, I don't think there's a rule specific for Thorn Whip. It's one we'll have to look up. In the future.
Honestly, what you described sounds logical.
Okay. So if you're using it at melee range, which is 5 feet, it does not provoke attacks of opportunity, Cam.
It's at work. Okay.
Otherwise, Thorn Whip may have just become the most broken thing in the game.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm doing some Googling right now, but finish your turn.
So then, yeah, I will use Thorn Whip. Oh, well, first, as my bonus action, because the guy with Hex on him died, I'm going to Hex the other guy.
Yes, and as a bonus action, you can just bounce the Hex over. You do not have to recast it.
Right. I just need to cast it on myself.
Yeah, when you use it.
And since Girk is flanking, I get advantage. Thorn Whip. Boom. 23. I'm assuming that hits.
That does hit.
7 damage. It is dying.
And yep, it is. Well, your thorn whip just wraps around his neck, and as you yank, it snaps.
Or tears.
Whichever.
Well, it's undead, so I feel like maybe severing the spinal
Jesus
cord would be
H.
better.
Thorn Whip is the most broken cantrip in 5e.
Sweet.
Thorn Whip does not provoke attacks of opportunity even at 30 feet.
Really?
Yes, which
Sweet.
means if he takes the Warcaster feat, he has a threatened range of 30 feet. If anyone tries to go within 30 feet beyond someone who knows Thorn Whip, if they have the Warcaster feat, they threaten 30 feet.
That's hilarious.
What is Warcaster?
What exactly is Thorn Whip?
It's a druid cantrip. My artificer also has it. But well, no, I mean, what I mean is before Artificer came out, it was unique to the druidic spell list.
Right.
Now
it's still only on the
Artificer
druid
spell
spell.
list. It's on the Artificer spell list as well. I chose it too.
Okay.
But it does a d6 damage. That's it, just a d6 damage. But that damage goes up at level 5 to 2d6, and then level 10, I think, and 3d6, and level 15, 4d6, level 20 becomes 5d6. But when it hits the target, if they're large or smaller, no save required, they can be drug up to 10 feet. Every other class has Lightning Lure as a cantrip, which is the same spell basically, but the range is only 15 feet, is a ranged spell attack, and there's a saving throw to drag them up to 10 feet. And in fact, Lightning Lure only deals damage if you drag them within 5 feet of you.
I know what I'm doing at my next ability score upgrade.
You're gonna take the Warcaster feat. Holy Jesus H!
And then I'm gonna be a
So the
motherfucker.
The Warcaster feat, every spellcaster needs it because the first ability of it is you have advantage on Constitution saving throws to maintain your concentration on a spell. So that's great enough. Second ability of the feat, you can perform the somatic components of your spells, aka the hand gestures of your spells, even if you're holding weapons or shields in one or both of your hands. So basically, you can do somatic components with like your eyelids and your elbows and your shoulders and other body movements. You don't just need your hands. But the third ability, when a hostile creature's movement would provoke an attack of opportunity from you, you can use your reaction to cast a spell rather than making an opportunity attack. So long as that spell has a casting time of 1 action and can target only that creature. So he will threaten only 30 feet with that.
Hey, Carl.
Oh, that's
what
tasty.
level do you get Thorn Whip as a druid?
Huh?
What level do you get?
It's a cantrip.
What level?
Level 1.
It's a cantrip.
Level 1?
Level 1. Yeah, it's a cantrip.
I'm dipping into druid.
You're gonna what?
I'm gonna dip into druid.
You're dipping into druid just for Thorn Whip? We're gonna become a Thorn Whip party?
We're Felix is gonna change his name to Jacques the Whipper.
Carl, I come in, I stab him in the kidney. He freaks out and runs away. No, you fucking don't.
I just see us all like fighting the big bad guy at the end of the game, and all of us are using Thorn Whip to just yank him around the room as we all stand 30 feet from each other.
We're using the spike growth combo again. One of these days.
But with all of us knowing Thorn Whip. That way we can just drag them back and forth across the spike growth.
No! Stop it!
Guys, we fit perfectly in hell. We use chains to torture people. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Finish your turn so that somebody else can take a turn. Now that we've figured out you've broken the game.
Yes! I feel so accomplished. That's it.
Okay, Thurkir's turn. Thurkir's going to cast Hunter's Mark on the ghast that he is attacking.
Yay! Wait, if you cast Hunter's Mark, you're gonna drop your rage.
Oh.
Just so you know. You can't rage and cast spells at the same time.
Oh. Okay, never mind then. Instead, he's going to Planar Warrior. Because that's not a spell.
Boom.
And draws Kopish.
Boom.
Which I guess means I should probably remove the effect. And he misses. Let's see. But with extra attack, he can make a second attack, right?
Yeah. Yeah, extra attack just means that on any turn where he takes the attack action as an attack action, he can make 2 attacks instead of 1.
Excellent. Okay, the second attack is a hit. For a total of 14 damage. And next is the ghast turn. Ghast 3 is going to try and attack Thurkir. And that is a hit. For 9 damage, he takes 5 because he had temporary hit points. Con save, which he kicks that save's ass.
Damn.
Good roll.
Yeah, that was a good roll.
And next ghast turn. Attacking Thurkir and misses. All right. Top of the initiative. And
Top of the initiative, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've been forgetting, but with the past couple of rounds. But these ghasts actually have an effect when you start your turn next to them.
Oh, good.
Oh, it's like the demons did.
Yeah, but the gas probably not like a fear aura or whatever.
It is not.
Probably like a rot aura or like a smell or something.
Rowan, I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Is it why is my thing not rolling? Spell or spell like effect?
It is not.
I'll open my character sheet on here and roll it. See if it rolls here. Oof. I rolled an 8.
Total?
Yeah, I'm looking to see if I have any way to buff that. this affect my saves? Oof. And I don't currently have an inspiration point. I think I'm stuck with an 8.
You are poisoned until your next turn.
I'm poisoned. What does that mean?
That is a good question. Let me see.
Oh, poisoned is in the condition.
Yes.
I have a disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks.
Should your
What am I
homunculus also
poisoned
roll
by?
for it?
My homunculus is a machine.
Then that's a no.
Yeah, I'm betting. Let me double check his stats because I don't know. They'll say something. Homunculus, servants, tiny neutral construct, damage immunities, poison.
Nice. I need to go pee real quick.
Okay.
Roger.
And then when you get back, let me know what poisoned me.
Or deodorant.
I think you're right. I think, like I said, it's either a rot or a smell. I don't want disadvantage on attack rolls. That sucks. I mean, I could just not make an attack roll.
Where would I find what special stuff I have and see if I'm immune to shit? What tab?
Abilities.
Yeah, I mean, that would just be on your abilities tab. Or your racial section of your abilities tab. If there's a racial
Or features
and
or
traits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait. I might have an option that I forgot about. Silvery barbs. 5e. Silvery barbs. Nope.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
You're fine.
I've been drinking a lot of water, so I really needed to go.
Respect. Can you update the map for me?
Oh, yes. Dang it. Sorry.
Can you also remove the dead ones?
Yes, in just a moment.
I mean, technically, they're not dead unless we curb stomp them, Girk. Even the one you ran your rapier through was only at 0 hit points and unstable.
If the head, oh well, they weren't talking before, so never mind. I was gonna say if the head was still capable of speech, I was gonna keep it like Bob from Dresden Files.
All right. Update is in the chat.
And the deads have the gray dots. Got it. I come off of the table to the right of the map. So basically, I go 2 squares right and then a square down. I move like a knight in chess, except, well, no, I only go 1 square down, so that I'm adjacent to Thurkir, or like across from Thurkir, so that we grant each other combat advantage.
Okay.
And because I'm granted combat advantage, and disadvantage cancel each other out. So I can
Carl, that's
roll
still a nice move.
normally.
Carl,
Excellent.
move out of the space after your attack.
You what? Do you say move down another space after I attack?
Move out of that space.
Except I want to leave him advantage.
You trust me, he'll get it.
23 to hit.
That is a hit.
I'm not poisoned.
12. 19.
Well,
20, 21, 22. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 points of damage to it, Jaime.
It is dead. Well, you use your sun sword again, right?
Yep.
Okay, it's down.
Sword cuts into its flesh, and I say, I hear Fick say, well, no, Fick can't tell me to move because he doesn't talk.
damn it. Well, I kind of agree with it there, because I was going to make the sword go to where you were on my turn if somebody else didn't take it. So I can make the sword go to the other one, but
Gonna
it's cool.
stay where I'm at, because at this point there's no point
It's
in me
dead.
moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm debating on what I want to do with my bonus action, since we only have the one left.
Oh.
Yeah, what the hell? My homunculus will take a shot at it. And miss, but my homunculus also provokes an attack of opportunity, Jaime.
Okay. It fumbles.
It fumbles. They've fumbled a lot this week.
They fumbled every attack of opportunity.
Also true. Past turn.
All right, Fick.
Number 3 is the only one left, right?
Affirmative.
Hang on. I'm gonna get this done right this time, I think.
Yeah, actually, with where Thurkir and I are standing,
That is a hit.
and with the open wall in the back of the room, there's actually the opportunity for everybody to get advantage against this guy.
Yeah.
Nice.
19.
Nice.
Not really.
Wait. It added it to you for some reason.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Right now it's saying that you're at 37.
Can we please fix that?
I'm working on it. I'm working
No,
on it.
you have to die. It's permanent.
It's been fixed.
No good. So 19 damage to him.
Yep, and I already put that on him.
Okay.
His status is heavily wounded. Or rather, it's bloodied, I guess? Bloodied.
And then disengage.
Okay, and which one are you disengaging? Sounds good.
And I think that's everything I can do.
Alright. Gilwin.
So if I'm going to move here, I'm just going to go ahead and do Thorn Whip again, because that's...
Gonna be your thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. It's a cantrip, and it's just easy. Like, and I don't technically hold it, so it's not screwing up my hands. So, advantage. Yeet. 15 hit. Oh, yep.
You guys all make your
And-
Constitution saves at the beginning of your turn for standing adjacent to creatures.
They were dead, so they didn't count.
At the beginning of that one.
Oh, lucky.
Damage. 5. Now, as my bonus action,
Oh, Jaime, you never said
Sure.
what it was that caused the poison.
Stench.
Stench, so it was a smell.
Yes. And that's
Nice.
a critical hit.
yeah. Will it do it automatically?
Yes, it should.
Sweet.
Oh.
And it is down.
Sweet.
Alright, the poison status wears off after only one round. So after taking a moment to breathe fresh air, basically, Rowan is no longer poisoned.
Rowan, how tall are you?
Counting my ears, taller than you. Not counting my ears, shorter than you. By
No,
like
no,
inches.
That wouldn't work, Wyatt. That wouldn't work. If you were like a medium creature, like a human-sized creature, I was gonna run up, hug your leg, and fart.
Well,
What?
rude.
What?
For real.
Like, why would you do that?
Because he's
What?
a mischievous little gnome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, why? In the middle of a fight or at the end of a fight, would you decide that was worth doing?
Just felt like
That's
it at the
almost as
time.
bad as showing up and going, Crowley. It just seems so random and out of character.
In fairness, he was having a severe diabetes episode when he did that.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I'm like, tomorrow, are you gonna be like, why did I have Fick go up and fart on the guy? Like when I picture Fick, he's Robin Hood combined with a mime. Like neither
That would be
Robin
scary.
Hood nor a mime is gonna run up and fart on somebody.
A mime
why I'm like,
absolutely
what?
would.
Mine might, I guess. I don't know.
I've had a mime fart on me before.
That's the only sound they make.
Wow. Just wow. All right. Corpses are all down.
Corpses are, yep, the ghasts are all dead.
Cool. Fresh
Now
body
we
in
can commence
the
searching.
corner is also dead.
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, I proceed to do my standard curb stomping to make sure these guys don't stand back up and head back for the door, because we still have other time sensitive issues that I feel like we need to address.
I fish out the silver bullet for you from the one that you shot.
So there's no in-game mechanical rules on that, and I was going to talk to Jaime about this actually before. I established in my game that so there's no rules for recovering any type of ammunition in 5e. If you spend it, if you shoot it, you've lost it, which to me is ridiculous because you can always recover arrows and shit. So I use the 3-5 rule on rolling a percentile, and if you roll above 50, you recover it. If you roll below 50, you don't. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
$57. Girk, my bullet's intact when you go fishing for it.
Awesome. What do I roll?
No, you don't. You wouldn't roll. I rolled the percentile because it's determined by whether I hit the bone or if I just hit flesh or what. Like so, it's just the firer rolls a percentile and then you just go dig it out.
I shot a crossbow bolt.
Oh, to dig out your crossbow bolt, it's a percentile. So above 50 you recover it, below 50 you don't.
$88.
You recover it. Sweet.
We're only a few blocks from all the other movement I had seen in the streets, and I just realized my musket made a loud noise. So when I get over to the window, I would like to make a perception check, and I think that's probably a good spot to wrap up for the night. Hey guys.
Almost.
Agreed.
It looks like Gilman actually rolled perception while the two of you were discussing mechanics.
Well, I rolled on the room to see if there was anything that looked worthy of investigating further.
And I messaged you.
Oh, I see.
We don't.
Yeah, I would immediately go investigate that.
What are
The
you investigating?
cabinet. Gilman
what?
just kind of says, like, in his aloofness, the way he does, he's like, "Why is this cabinet sobbing?" And
Why
then he
is
just
this
walks over to
cabinet
it.
sobbing?
Yes.
I point my gun at the cabinet while he's going to look at it. Like I'm walking to the window. He says, "Why is this cabinet sobbing?" And I immediately turn around, rifle is pointed at it, and I go, "Not another mimic."
The so you open up the cabinet, you said?
Yes.
What is your dexterity save?
Oh God.
Great.
What is it? +4?
Okay, you're not gonna have to
Should I
worry
roll
about
it?
that. You open the cabinet and a little girl, she reflexively curls herself up into a tighter ball. Like she basically jumps when the cabinet opens and tries to hide herself even more inside of there.
As to be expected. In the calmest voice I can manage after a fight like that, he would say, he would just like reassure that I'm not going to hurt you. The bad guys are gone.
I hear him having this like conversation with this girl from the window.
Yes.
You should.
Okay, then I actually say to him, "If you don't know that, Rowan, I saw the tally man dart away right as I arrived, and obviously, or not Rowan, Gilwin, which obviously you know I'm the tally man, but hey, I'm gonna lie that he
Right.
ran off. And then I say,
Kind of raises an eyebrow.
I
doesn't.
need your help with my eyes, aka I'm asking for a guidance spell before I roll a perception check at the window."
I got you. Action. I wonder if I could. I wish I could just like cast on. Yeah, I'll cast guidance on you. No worries.
Cool. This is the reason why you need a familiar, though, because it requires a touch, and a familiar can deliver touch spells.
Cool.
She wipes away her, she wipes away her tears, and through her sobs, she gets out a sentence. Is Mr. Donovan okay?
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I seriously don't know how to answer that. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Do you know who she's talking about?
Yeah, I don't know who she's talking
people
about.
in the room.
Yeah, and I would assume it's the one in the corner that was just haphazardly thrown there, the fresh corpse. Would that be a fair guess, Jaime, or should I?
It is a fair guess, unless you want to ask her to identify the body.
No. I was actually going to cover her eyes as I took her out of here.
What are you going to tell her to answer her question?
I don't know. I'll just tell her I don't know.
I don't know, but let me keep you safe anyways.
Yeah.
She slides out the cupboard and immediately grabs Gilwin's hand and just holds on.
Oh, good.
Is she small enough that I could pick her up?
Adopt somebody.
She is.
I would pick
Can we
her up.
play a
Like,
game where we don't adopt a stray?
It's never gonna happen. It's never not gonna happen. Just accept it.
I wasn't planning on adopting the stray, but
None of us were.
We've never planned on it. It just happens. While he's scooping them up, I am going to make my perception check.
All right, go ahead.
I'm going to use my homunculus servant to aid another. I'm going to use his D4 so that I can roll with advantage with a +4. Oops. Ignore that roll.
Thank you.
Advantage. Roll. For a 20, not natural, plus 3. For a 23 perception to basically, make sure nothing's going to come at us. Watching the street outside.
Okay, so
Especially since I know there's a pack of ghouls out there hunting.
you make your perception check, and you actually see... Well, I guess I can type it out to you.
Okay.
Is everybody there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
I'm waiting for
typing.
Jaime
I knew he was typing, but everybody else got really quiet.
And sorry about that typo. I was typing
worries.
with one hand.
Maragon?
Yes, I did not typo that.
Okay. There's foot. I guess I don't know how powerful those ones are, CR wise. When I look at that one, I know the other guys. Off the top of my head, I don't know what I need to worry about from that dude. Okay. So he's a little more powerful. Okay. I basically would, relay over my shoulder, put her back in the cabinet.
He would look at you puzzled, but wouldn't really
And
ask.
then you would see me loading my bullets in my revolver in my right hand, or I've already got it loaded, so you would see me cocking the hammer in my revolver in my right hand and my sword in my left hand. And I would say,
I first produced
but
my
not
pistol and then produced my rapier.
Yeah, I first produced
Sorry.
my pistol, then I produced my rapier. You're absolutely right. Good song reference. And I say, well, looks like sundown in the OK Corral. No, something akin to that. But yeah, basically, we have company outside. They don't know we're here yet, but they will do. In other words, this fight ain't over yet.
No, don't leave me. Tallyman will help.
Oh, God.
Okay, yeah, that's how I would react. That's a good cliffhanger. We're gonna start the next session in combat.
Yep, new initiatives looking out a freaking window.
All right. Yep, that's a good place to call it for tonight.
Hey, Jaime, do we level up?
Negative.
Damn it.